red, blue, purple light. Friends, red, blue, purple light. Friends, facts, red, blue, purple light. Friends, red and blue, purple light. Friends, facts, you can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road, you better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I open my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah, we gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts, we in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts, peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace, peace, peace. Peace to you and yours. Thank you for stopping through. Pope Pablo reporting live and direct to you. We are back in the building with episode or epilogue 131. When the rabbit got the gun. That's what I should have named this one. I should have named this one When the Rabbit Got the Gun, 131. But today's presentation has been aptly named Cosmic Covenants. Cosmic Covenants. These are things that I've been having conversations about leading up to this event or today's presentation. Cosmic Covenants. All right. Let me light the sage. Then we're going to pour the water and start the invocation. And this is the etymological definition of the word God, right? And we'll read it. We'll go through the etymology of God, since so many people are confused, right? And they love throwing words around like pagan. We'll look and see. We'll see what the definition of the word God is and see if we are in alignment with paying proper homage, if you will, right? Out from the outset, right? We're gonna get God out of the way from the outset, and then everything else that we'll be delving into are the words of man disguised as the word of God. Okay. You said no Cash App. I actually do have one, family. Somebody asked me that in the chat. And I'm glad that you asked from the early onset, because you guys be sliding out and it don't be no tiding taking place. And I swear, these blood, sweat, and tears, they add up. And you get what you came for, you don't leave a tip. But that's okay. That's between you and God. because God is an accountant too. I don't know if y'all see the play. We actually wrote a play, and now the AI is here. I think that we're going to I'm gonna enact the play. It's an end of the year play. Like God and the devil sit down as a lawyer and accountant, and they do the ledger. They do the ledger for the end of the year, and they balance out sins. And that's kind of the best way to explain the relationship between God and the devil. Because without the devil, God wouldn't be in business. People wouldn't be grieving, they wouldn't be crying, they wouldn't be scared or in fear. So they play this game because it's contractual, right? Because if you remember the conversation in heaven before he allegedly kicked out Shaitan and 1/3 of his angels, now Satan must have some amazing rhetoric, right? If he's able to convince 33% of these angelic forces to go with him into damnation, they know that they're going to hell. So God tells the devil, or the devil tells God, if I can finesse these children of yours that you say are so obedient, right, then they can be my children. And God said, never would they be disobedient. I programmed them too well to be deviants like you. So be gone, Satan. And he casts him, right? And he sends them into hell. And he takes 33% with him. That's a lot of angels. That's a lot of angels. And there goes that 33% again. And interestingly enough, the fraternal lodges, sometimes very soon I'm going to get into sharing some secrets with you guys about the teachings and things that they teach people in secret society and these lodges that are very strong Luciferian forces and locations. This way they get into speaking about the deviants and the power of deviancy when it comes to defying the great ones. The defiant ones were sent down here to run this kingdom until, right, they could get the deeds back. It's just like the colonizer are here and they allegedly, you would think that they're running this land until the land goes back to the indigenous inhabitants. It's the same thing with Earth. It's a micro to the macro, right? Until the colonizer gets put in their place and rightfully gets sent back to from whence they came, then they appear to have dominion over the territory. It's the same thing with Shaitan, according to the biblical narrative, that they said that they send them to hell. Hell is not even physically, technically Earth. It's a realm, it's the underworld, it's the underworld, it's the world underneath Earth. Earth's supposed to be the paradise. And they said that the paradise was ruined by the original sin when, quote unquote, Shaitan embodied himself into a serpent force, and serpent means wisdom. And he was able to trick Eve into defying her covenant that she initially establishes, right, with the Father, or the covenant says that you should obey, right, and not exercise free will. But that's the very thing that God told Satan differentiates humans from angels, and why angels should pay homage to humans, because they have free will. Yes, we have to go and delve into this book called Paradise Lost. And then it kind of explains to you from the writings of Milton. But even this concept of hell comes from a writer named, whoever wrote Dante's Inferno. Let's Google that and look that up. Who was the author of Dante's Inferno? Because that person is responsible for your horror stories and your bad dreams, right? Because ancient archaic civilizations did not have this concept of hell, right? So a guy named Dante Alighieri, another Roman, okay? Inferno was the first part of Italian writers Dante Alighieri's 14th century. 14th century. So we're in the 21st century. This gives you some context about how recent some of these narratives are that we swear are ancient. And they're not ancient. It's very recent. The Judaic faith doesn't have a hell. It has a concept of an underworld as well called Sheol. And there's 7 different bands and layers to their underworld. They don't have a hell. And the only reason that Islam has a hell is because it's an off branch of Christianity. Kemet didn't have a hell. Buddhists don't have a hell, right? These are very modern concepts and modern themes that come about after the periods of the Reformation and Enlightenment and everything that comes out of Europe. Peace to the God. Where's my glasses at so I can look a little bit more studious? Right? Or today, I guess we shooting, so we'll put these on. Okay? But we'll put the bow tie on to confuse them because they're going to be like, oh, he has the bow tie on. He's extra pious today. Right? He wouldn't say anything that's out of line. He has a bow tie on. The power of symbols, y'all. The power of symbols. Automatically, if I put the dark glasses on, I'm being rebellious and counter rebellious. But if I put the bow tie on, then I'm about to say something important. The power of symbols. Let me see. Will my outfit even allow me to keep up? Let's see. Will my outfit even obey? My outfit is with the shits. Here we go. My outfit is with the shits today. All right. Dante Alighieri's 14th century narrative poem, The Divine Comedy, followed by Purgatorio and Paradiso. The Inferno describes the journey of a fictionalized version of Dante himself through hell, guided by the ancient Roman poet Virgil. In the poem, hell is depicted as 9 concentric circles of torment located within the earth. It's the realm of those who have rejected spiritual values by yielding to bestial appetites or violence, or by perverting their human intellect to fraud or malice against their fellow men. So this is where the concept of hell and the burning fires comes from, a poem called Dante's Inferno that came about in the 14th century. Okay? Now let's look at the etymology of God before we move on. Let's just do a little, just a little brief education today before we delve into this fictionalized writings that come out of the mind of man that has the whole world in game. Let's look at what the etymology of the word is first, right? Because there's a lowercase g, there's capital G, there's God, and there's gods. All of them have different meanings, and I think we're getting lost in translation. So, etymology of God, right? And you know, what did it tell you? You can look it up. You can Google this. It's all Googleable. I'm not reading out of any secret books. I'm not going into my secret texts. You know what I'm saying? I ain't violating no oaths. God damn it. I'm on Google. You can Google this too. Right? Matter of fact, let's read along. Go to your Google and type in the etymology of God. Etymology of God. Right? What does etymology mean? What's the root word? What's the definition? Right? Where did it come from? What's the meaning of it? What's the meaning of the meaning? Not the one that the guys that's religious tell you, right? Where did the root of the word itself come from? Ooh. Try and get this this Ty stop operating. Shout out to my brother Ty. Miss you over here. We got that Christ consciousness anniversary coming up. About to play some music from it. The English word God comes from Old English God, which is derived from the Proto-Germanic Gudon. Gudon. This term's origin is uncertain, but most likely stems from the Proto-Indo-European root gut, which sounds like gut, meaning that which is invoked or to call, invoke. Another theory links it to a different root, gutu, meaning poured, referring to a sacrifice or libation. The original word was neuter, but became masculine as Germanic people converted to Christianity. right? So it originally is a neutered word, meaning it's neuter free. I mean, it's neutered. It's gender free. Originally, it was gender free, but it adopted more of a masculine persuasion as it was adopted by German people. So this is a word that comes from Germans. Once again, a religion cast in the image of people who are not known to be religious people or have any relationship with origins, right? So they said that it derives from the word meaning to pour, to invoke. So we'll start off by pouring the water, right? Proto-Indo-European root. The most widely accepted theory is that the word originates from the Proto-Indo-European root gut or gar, meaning to call or to invoke. Now we call on the name of the Most High. Hallelujah. To our God, Yahweh, Jah. There's so many different variations or versions of, because you're calling in your tone, you're calling in your language, and you're calling for reasons that are needed and necessary to you. So when when they were speaking to people who were sheep herders, they had when they were speaking to people who were desert dwellers, they had a different. When they were speaking to people who were egalitarian, meaning that they worked the land, these people had different reasons and purposes to call on different gods. They were calling on a saw when they were dealing with a vegetable god because the men, right, and he was um, Saul was a moon god because the men were the actual ones that were out there doing the agricultural work, right? And they had to pray to the God that the seeds that they put in the ground would fester and grow into food. So he served a purpose specific to the particular region that the people were in, that invoke or call upon a deific force to do the bidding of them so they can see whether they are in favor or not. It's very easy to understand why this can be an extension of man's own imagination, right? And I will do my best today not to come at nobody's beliefs because the strength of beliefs, speak for themselves. Um, Let this country serve as an example. You know what I'm saying? This shit is driven by beliefs. These people actually believe that this is a Christian country and they're doing everything that they can to enact the manifestation or the crystallization of what those beliefs entail. So, cognates in other language, right? The Germanic root is the source of similar words for God in other language. Included in the Gothic language is goop, Old Saxon, God, Old Norse, Gua, German, Gott, Dutch, God, and the German cognate is the similar most to the word gut, where you can find God because they say that you are driven. What you eat, what's in your gut is what drives you. That's your God. Your appetite is your God. You know, God really ties to food, it ties to the gut. That's where you find the majority of your neurons at, not in your brain, but in your gut. What you put in your mouth controls you, right? So there's other meanings and derivations of this word, right? Let me see, because I'm over here. I'm over here with the family on YouTube. So for y'all, I can share the screen with y'all real quick. I just want to get this out the way because I get accused of a lot of things, and I really don't be. I'm not in it to be disrespectful to nobody's thing. You know what I'm saying? This is really for educational purposes. Um, that we do what it is that we're doing. So I want to make sure that we're teaching first and foremost, and that I'm not coming across as a prude. I don't want to disrespect or step on nobody's thing, but I also know the importance of us having clarity. Clarity is very, very integral. So we don't step on one another, so we don't make mistakes. you know what I mean, and blame with whoever and whatever after the fact. I am on the website of Eda, Edam, Edamon Online, right? It's an etymology website. Okay. And it said, Old English God, supreme being, deity, the Christian God, image of a God, godlike person from Proto-Germanic Guthon, source also of Old Saxon, Old Frisian Dutch God, Old High German Gut, German Gott, Old Norse Gud, Gothic Goop, which is of uncertain origin, perhaps from Gut, which means invoked, right? To call, invoked, an epitaph of Indra, right? To call, invoke, the notion could be divine entity summoned to a sacrifice, right? Divine entity summoned to a sacrifice. So once again, even the Germans are showing you via the vehicle of sacrificial ritual is how you gain access to a particular deity. The invocation or the threading to an entity or thought form or an egregor deals with the transmitting utility of blood, right? Or maybe even water, but a sacrifice is needed and necessary because that is the ethereal current that these particular spiritual forces transact on. Do you understand? In case in point, they drove this point home specifically and beautifully in the TV series American Gods when they got to the shore and they utilized Norsemen specifically to show you if you want to conjure or connect with the concept of a god, you have to what? You have to spill blood. You have to offer it a current, a transmitting utility, so this particular force can have a throughway to make itself manifest in the physical world, right? So we'll continue, but some trace it to poured from the root gua to pour, or libation. So they're saying the root word of the word God comes from a Germanic root word, right? And that particular root word means to pour in terms of libation, right? Also the phrase kutagaya, poured earth, referring to a burial mound, right? Given the Greek facts, the Germanic form may have referred in the first instance to spirit imminent in a burial mound. See also Zeus. In either case, not related to good. We'll leave that alone. Popular etymology has long derived God from good, but a comparison of the forms shows this to be an error. Moreover, the notion of goodness is not conspicuous in the heathen conception of deity, and in good itself, the ethical sense is comparatively late, right? So this concept of things having to be good to be associated with God, that is a modern day concept, right? That's a modern day concept because they're saying the people who initially created this particular term, they were not more so concerned with good as much as they were concerned with being able to eat, right? Food, the gut, invoking to bring about what you needed this particular deific force to do for you. So the only reason that God exists in people's minds or even on this plane of existence is because of variables. If everything was already prescribed to be the way that it, like if the world was automated, we wouldn't need God. If I could wake up every single day and I knew that the food that I needed to eat was going to be delivered, um, like by like Instacart, what would I need God for? What would I need prayer for? How would I feel, right? The contemptuous need to say that I need to invoke or call on something because I needed a favor, right? Our relationship with our deific forces is purely transactional. And then it kind of like that's the macro, and then the micro expression of it is how we are related to our parents. For the most part, it's transactional. You needed your mother for breast milk if you were breastfed, or you definitely needed her to quote unquote feed you until you no longer needed her to feed you. And then it may become transactional with now she needs you to feed her or take care. It's transactional. Is that considered what they call, what's that word? Unconditional love? Not necessarily. It's transactional, right? Because the minute that she stops doing for you, hence the fact, if you don't hug the child can become a serial unaliver, right? It can develop a pathology of feeling like that is unwanted. And those particular sort of children become dark tetrads. You understand? So it's purely transactional. We need one another. We were not meant to come here to be alone, to do nothing by ourselves or to do everything alone. We're social creatures, we're social beings. You know what I'm saying? Out of the one comes the two. Hence the fact that the majority of creation myths, right, specifically the ones that come out of the Yoruba culture and Nigeria has the highest concentration of twins, and majority of creation narrative and mythos around the world deal with twins being the quote unquote ones that created reality. And it's not a twin flex, it's because our assignment and role here in life is to come to figure out how to be pluralistic, how to live with one another. Twins naturally have to learn that from the womb, how to share, right? So our goal here as seated in society, as people that come to this planet, is how to share resources, right? How from one comes two, comes three. A man marries a woman and has a child. Traditionally, right? Those are the way that those things go. Masonically, they say, oh, this is how you get the one, this is how you get the three out of the one. Because a person has a union, you find a compatible person that you become yoked with, two become one, and out of one comes three. Then you have a child, and that child is the manifestation of the fusion of the two becoming one. Do you get it? Right? That's the Holy Trinity, man, woman, and child. So y'all said, can you tell us some secrets today? I just gave you the main one, the main Masonic secret of all. There you go. Let's move on, y'all. Let's move on. So it said that the etymology was invoking. So I start this off by invoking a prayer that's considered a cosmic covering, right? I am invoking white light. So when we go into these realms, because we're going into realms, we're reading things, we're opening ourselves up to all sorts of whatever. We're going to be in the cosmos. We're going to be floating. Our cosmic sword and shield, right? Where we are already endowed with it, but our cosmic covering, this beautiful melanin that we have, this cosmic covenant that we are endowed with, right? We need to take, for the lack of a better term, not so much pride in it, but we need to understand the purpose of it. But this cosmic covering, this prayer, this is Psalms 144. Okay, as we venture through the cosmos, let us be covered by this particular luminescent white light, right? These endeavors that we are attempting to undertake is purely for the purposes of understanding ourselves better so we can be better servants on this plane of existence to our higher purpose, right? In the midst of doing that, we invoke this particular cosmic covering. Praise be to the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war, my fingers for battle. He is my loving God and my fortress, my stronghold and my deliverer, my shield in whom I take refuge, who subdues people under me. Lord, what are human beings that you care for them, mere mortals that you think of them? They are like a breath, their days are like a fleeting shadow. Part your heavens, Lord, and come down, touch the mountains so that they may smoke. Send forth lightning and scatter the enemy, shoot your arrows and rout them. Reach down your hand from on high, deliver me and rescue me from the mighty waters, from the hands of foreigners, whose mouths are full of lies, whose right hands are deceitful. So I'll comment afterwards. I will sing a new song to you, my God, on a 10-string lyre. I will make music to you, to the one who gives victory to kings, who delivers his servant David from the deadly sword. Deliver me, rescue me from the hands of foreigners, whose mouths are full of lies, whose right hands are deceitful. Then our sons in their youth will be like well-nurtured plants, and our daughters will be like pillars carved to adorn a palace. Our barns will be filled with every kind of provision. Our sheep will increase by thousands, by tens of thousands in our fields. Our oxen will draw heavy loads. There will be no breaching of walls, no going into captivity, no cries of distress in our streets. Blessed is the people of whom this is true. Blessed is the peoples whose God is the Lord. And Ashe, Amin, all good tidings. Hallelujah. And next Sunday, we'll get to the etymology of Lord, of Lord. Okay? Of Lord. When I read that and I think about the real-time applications or implications of what I'm reading, and I look at this current administration and they talk about foreigners whose mouths are full of lies, whose right hands are deceitful. I just keep getting this picture in my head of the president and Stephen Miller next to him, and I can't shake that picture because it's just so prevalent, and it sets such a precedence for the times that we're in. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. It stands out like a sore thumb. The obviousness of it all. The obviousness of it all. But how y'all doing today? Everybody good? We're about to get into it. Okay, we're gonna get to it so we can get through it. And today is 10/12. 10/12. So the way that we do this, we go into the Bible, into the book, and we read from the 10th chapter, 12th verse of every book in the Old and the New Testament, so we can see if there is a throughway, if there's a cohesiveness that exists throughout narrative, throughout this particular narrative, if we can breathe life into what's considered to be they call it a dead letter religion, if we can bring about a living testament of it to see specifically, is there something that speaks directly to us? Is there something that speaks directly to what's taking place today? Right? Are we able to extract from it a message and a lesson in real time? Right? Because we seem to be living in very uncertain times in regards to the fact that these people are talking about, it's a Christian nation and they want to make it a theocracy. All right, well, what's in it for us? You know what I'm saying? How does that speak specifically to who we are, to what our overarching goal, assignment, and mission is? What is our providence in this land? What is our contract? What is our covenant? You know what I'm saying? Where do we stand to derive from the blessings and the benefits as stewards, as citizens of this republic? So, you know, we're looking for ourselves. We're looking for the proverbial needle in the haystack, right? What better way to do it? So we're starting off in Genesis, right? This is Genesis 10:12. And what better way to start but in the section titled The Hamites? And according to narrative, according to scripture, this is who they say that we are descendants or derivatives of. They say that we are Hamites. We come from from Ham. We bear the burden of the curse of Ham. And they say that the sin is the skin. Okay, so this very, very, very dangerous lie that has been told, right? Simple, a lie has offset the trajectory of history, and it has stymied humanity because there are beautiful, beautiful children that are deeply enriched, deeply melanated, who are born hating themselves because they believe that the skin is the sin, okay? And that there's something accursed by their beauty. From that land, he went forth to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, and Kala, where Rezin, which is between Nineveh and the great city of Kala. Mizraim was the father of the Ludites, the Anamites, and the Lehabites, the Naphthuhites. pardon my Moorish Hebrew, but I'm getting caught up on some of these words. But I you know, when we speak about Mizraim, they're speaking about Kemet or they're speaking about Egypt, right? So are they speaking about people or are they speaking specifically to nations, right? Yes, our skin is our favor. Our skin is our cosmic covenant, right? And the Cushites, and they speak about the Hamites, and these Hamites were deeply melanated, deeply enriched people. Hence the fact that the Hamites comes from the Cushites, and then they, even when they get into Nimrod and all of the people who have the curse, all of the people, even the Philistines, Goliath was deeply melanated. So we cheer, not knowing, okay, well, who are you in the narrative? Are you the children of David? Those were melanated people as well, but the Philistines were melanated. You know what I'm saying? The Phoenicians are melanated in these narratives. Historically, if we want to get out of the interpretation biblically, and if we want to get into the historical canon that is available to who some of these people are, if they actually existed, they would be melanated people, right? And they're saying that these are the people that bear the curse. Okay. Um, let's do a cross reference and then we'll move on. Right? Nineveh means praise, and you know, let me see. Isaiah 11:11. Okay. Yes, Canaan was definitely melanated. On that day, the Lord will extend his hand a second time to recover the remnant of his people from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elon, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. Okay. So we know who the Cushites are. We know who the Cometians are, right? We know who these people are. And not too many of us know who the Assyrians are when we hear these words, right? Or you think about Black Adam and you think about The Rock, right? That he was portrayed as an Assyrian. Feel me? Ezekiel 31:3. Look at Assyria, a cedar in Lebanon with beautiful branches that shaded the forest. It towered on high, its tops was amongst the clouds. The waters made it grow. The deep springs made it tall, directing their stems all around its base and sending their channels to the trees of the field. Therefore, it towered higher than all of the trees of the field. Its branches multiplied and its boughs grew long as it spread them out because of the abundant waters. Right? So, are they speaking about a nation or are they speaking about a people? Right? The land is the people. That's the thing. The land is the people. They are one and the same. So, a people who have a name that's not tied to a land are those stateless people, right? Such as the colorable people that call themselves black. Where's black land? I don't want to get too mixy right away in this morning, but let's move on to Exodus 10:12. Okay. And this is the eighth plague, locusts, right? Locusts. No, only the men may go and worship the Lord, since that is what you have been requested. And Moses and Aaron were driven from Pharaoh's presence. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the land of Kemet, so that the locusts may swarm over it and devour every plant in the land, everything that the hail has left behind. So Moses stretched out his staff over the land of Kemet, and throughout that day and night the Lord sent an east wind across the land. By morning, the east wind had brought the locusts. So they were doing hellified magic, right? And it was a battle of magic. If we are to literally receive this particular narrative as if that, you know, remember when we used to watch or they used to play the Ten Commandments on TV or Ben-Hur? If you think that it went down like that, my ninjas, right? It was a battle of magic. These niggas were sorcerers. It sounds like Lord of the Rings. You feel me? It sounds like some Lord of the Rings. And they was just out there banging their magic out because that is what ruled the realms during that time. There was so many different quote unquote religions. And this is my issue with God and the number one brand on the planet. Like, how you ain't have a cease and desist? You know what I'm saying? How you ain't have a cease and desist office? Right? Yeah, Gandalf and then Palantir. How did you not? How did you allow everybody else to share in your brand? But you said that you are the one God. How all these other people had gods that were so developed and so methodically thought out, and they had shrines built to them and architecture that still stands to this day. But your people were herding sheep, and y'all don't have nothing that stands to this day. And they are over there committing the worst atrocities because they want to build you another home, but your people was always homeless in the books. Leviticus 10:12, restrictions for priests, so that you may teach the Israelites all of the statutes that the Lord has given them through Moses. And Moses said to Aaron and his remaining sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, take the grain offerings that remain from the offerings made by fire to the Lord and eat it without leaven besides the altar, because it is most holy. You shall eat it in a holy place, because it is your share and your son's share of the offerings made by fire to the Lord. For this is what I have been commanded. Right? So, of course, we get to Leviticus and we run into all of these issues of the prescribing, the prescriptions, the detailed instructions that are given for sacrifice, right? For them to call upon the name of God, and the name of God in this particular occurrence is Yahweh, right? YHVH, and the number of God is 26, and it's referred to as the Tetragrammaton, the four-letter word. It's a golden cube. 26 is just an anagram for a cube. It's a box. It's a box. Just like in Islam, it's a box. Okay? In Christianity, the box is folded out and it becomes a cross. This is all about the box. Keep explaining this to you guys. It's a cube. It's a three-dimensional cube, right? Numbers 18:8. Then the Lord said to Aaron, behold, I have put you in charge of my offerings. As for all of the sacred offerings of the Israelites, I have given them to you and your sons as a portion and a permanent statute. A portion of the most holy offerings reserved from the fire will be yours. From all the offerings they rendered to me as most holy offerings, whether grain offerings or sin offerings or guilt offerings, that part belongs to you and your sons. You are to eat it as a most holy offering, and every male may eat it. You shall regard it as holy. So this is kind of where the tire meets the road when it comes to understanding how sacrificial ceremonies are done. There are two different versions of them. There are certain ceremonies that, let's say you open a crib or you have a child, right? Or you have a wedding. Those ceremonies are different than if you have cancer, or you have a possession, right? Or you got a court case, right? Those sacrifices to remove negative mitigating forces should not be eaten or intaken. Hence the fact that we show the ceremonial cleansing sacrifice that they did the other day after Yom Kippur, and they did it in the neighborhood called Crown Heights, right? And the Hasidics community did this in Crown Heights. It specified to them that they have to dispose of their sacrifices in a particular way. Anyone who has been any part of any traditional spiritual system that deals with sacrifice, or any religious system that deals with sacrifice, you know that the most important part of the sacrifice is the disposal and removal after the sacrifice. Okay? You have to close your sacrifice the right way. You just can't be out here sacrificing things and then leaving the festering food, because the food is ethereal. The food is not for you. It's for the entity that you're feeding, right? That operates as an egregor or a group mind to do your bidding in the astral realms. You're paying current to them, and the transmitting utility that operates as current is blood. Okay. Plasma is how etheric forces transmute and travel on the realms. So these are the necessary things that are needed in those particular realms to transact. It's the BTC of the spirit realm, the Ethereum of the ethereal realm. So why don't they give them the right instructions, right? And this has possibly been unleashing unsurmountable amounts of chaos because they're not closing their rituals, they're not closing their ceremonies, they're not bounding it by doing the right methodology of disposal. How can you tell the priest to partake in intaking the portions of said sacrifice and you're not differentiating which ones are specific for consumption and not? Then you're not removing it. Then that person is becoming possessed by the quote unquote negative, um the negativity that has been absorbed, if you will, in that entity. Yes, it's being left unsealed. So when we think about the seals being broken and the seals being open, oh yeah, blood is the smart contract, right? Our cosmic covenant, we are covered in our cosmic covenant. And the underlayer of that cosmic covenant to reinforce and to bolster it, right, is our blood. Our blood is our liquidity pool, where our particular melanin is the current that we transact in. Wow. I hope that didn't go over your head. I hope it went through your heart. Feel me? And these are the mineral ministries, right? Because we want to get to the underbed, the underlying concept of what these things mean to extract them from spookism so we can actually use them in the fullest capacity and we can redeem dead letter religion into a living testament, right? And we can bring Christ home. Hallelujah. Amen. Shit. And then we would have fulfilled the greatest contract and covenant of them all. We came down here and figured this out in this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? What a blessing. What a blessing. I am attempting to bring my co-host in because I see the request being sent and Instagram is not allowing it for some reason. We're going to keep pushing the envelope to see. I'm going to send you a request. I just sent it. Let me get into Numbers 10:12. From Sinai to Paran. On the 20th day of the second month of the second year, the cloud was lifted from above the tabernacle of the testimony, and the Israelites set out from the wilderness of Sinai, traveling from place to place until the cloud settled in the wilderness of Paran. They set out this first time according to the Lord's commands through Moses. Now, let's drive this concept home, because when I speak about an egregor, right? When I said a groupthink, a groupthink operates above the people as a cloud. It looks like almost, if you think about the information, think about if we all lived in the same area, right? Yes, the great Nefertiti, we need you in here. I just sent you a message. Neftali, right? Invoking in real time, and we called the goddess up. There we go. Like I said, I want us to be operable with this information, y'all, in real time. Spook yourself. Like, make this shit work so much that you spook yourself. You're like, oh, it's working. Yeah, it's working. It's working. So think about if peace, right? That's the CC. That's Christ consciousness. Chanel knew what she was doing. That's the 33s. That's the 33s, right? So think about it, if everyone lived in the same community and they was they was on the internet all day, right? There would be an invisible cloud above them that is storing the data that they are creating all day, nonstop, continuously. That cloud above them, that data field, tells you almost everything that you need to know about them in the present, right? Because it's extracting all of the data, but it exists above them. Those data points can do for them things that they need done, especially if you take that and you put it like into AI and you like, yeah, I want to create a LLM based on all of these data points. So this concept of them speaking about the cloud that followed the Israelites around, they said that the continents, which means the face of God, could be seen in the cloud. I'm in my feelings because, again, when we would go to the mountain, we would be met on the mountain by the clouds. And I'm like, y'all can't, y'all are y'all not appreciating this for what it is? Because y'all come from reading the Bible. So why is it good enough for the Israelites of 2,000 years and 3,000 years ago, but you can't appreciate this for yourself in real time right now? Why is it any difference? Why are you looking at the cloud and then the fire coming through the cloud is the sun and the clouds dissipate and the sun is coming out and it's brighter than ever? And I'm not saying we're not worshiping the sun, we're not pagans, but the glory of the sun, the fire, the brightness, the light, it still represents something that is not the dark, if you will. And again, not to play those simple differences and comparisons against one another, because we embrace the dark as well. But I'm just saying, like, all of these signs are here for us in real time, but we're so caught up in religiosity that we're not able to appreciate, these real time manifestations and to really see the power of us, of self. So I'm finished right now. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's a little choppy on my end, but I can hear. I'm just trying to play with my.
Okay. I hear you clear.
My phone internet. You can hear me clear.
Yes, we do. We hear you. The people hear you. So
it only got choppy when I came in.
It's.
And I can't see no comments. So I don't know if anybody's commenting. I never can see comments, so.
No. They be hating hard, but we're gonna push and work through this. I wanna use a cross reference and I'll move on because this particular festival is taking place now or it just took place and it's very important. And I don't know if Black Israelites celebrate this. They never speak about their ceremonies and rituals enough. So I don't be knowing. But Sukkoth, right? Exodus 13:20. They set out from Sukkoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them in a pillar of cloud to guide their way by day, and in a pillar of fire to give them light by night, so that they can travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left this place before the people. And even that I've experienced. We used to bring the sun out. You see the sun at midnight. I can't get into the details, but we have experienced these things in this lifetime as a group. And I'm so glad that these are things that we experience as collectives, as community. And it's not just me saying, yeah, I was on high on the mountain one night and we seen the sun at midnight. Nah, this is stuff that we have collectively as a community experience, which would hopefully bolster, our wanting to be community, our wanting to be together, our wanting to pop our collar and pop our shit. Like when we get together as a people, we're just downright magical. And we are magical individually. But boy, when you bring that together with the right intent and purpose, it's unstoppable. Deuteronomy 10:12, a call to obedience. Is it still coming through choppy?
She's saying.
Okay.
I can't hear you. It's just the video choppy. Hold on, let me see something real quick.
Don't lose your connection. right? Why we are hated people in relation to the scripture? I ask you to explain, please.
But you
Okay.
was talking about people coming together and doing things. So yesterday I ended up linking with um he's in my city.
Who you said?
He's in my town, Bashir. He ended up being
Oh,
in my town.
the,
So we linked up at the beach,
oh,
and it was a couple.
you down there by the water, Lord.
So you already know when the gods link up. We trying to tap in and see what we can move and shift.
That brother there.
But the elements were definitely there.
That brother brings
The
mother.
elements were definitely there.
That brother comes with the mothership.
Back.
That brother
So
brings
everything what you saying is 100% real, 100% true.
that brother brings the mothership out. That brother brings the legions of angels with it. I mean, that brother there, especially near the water, that Pisces is different.
Listen, I had a whole experience yesterday that was just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Different. Like I said, that I can speak with confidence about. I'm like, if y'all want to get this shit done in this lifetime, trust me, you got to be ready because we could get it done. The heavens will open. You could literally unzip the heavens and see the shit behind it. I've seen it in this lifetime, and y'all just got to be ready.
And we were talking about was like being able to, first of all, recognize that there is a veil. Able to see beyond the veil. And then, but that third step, which a lot of people don't do, and a lot of people get, that third step is where you're really able to tap into your own inner divinity, and that's where you in this world and one foot on the other side of that veil, and you're always able to what's the word? See the coding behind everything that's going on, and you're always able to see what's going on in the physical, the spiritual, and then be able to translate that back and forth. So
yes, indeed. You was coming in. Yeah, you coming in like I'm hearing 3 words, and the fourth word is blank type shit. I don't know why they hating. You know, I might need to send you this YouTube link and you come through there because I think that might be a better feed that won't be as choppy.
You know what? Let me come out because my Wi-Fi thing was still on, so it's probably still glitching because of that. I'm gonna come out and I'm
okay. Please come back
just so it can reload.
Okay. All right, y'all. We are in Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy 10:12, a call to obedience. And now, O Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you but to fear the Lord your God by walking in all of his ways, to love him, to serve the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul, and to keep the commandments and statutes of the Lord that I am giving you this day for your own good. Right? And we'll do a cross reference before we move on. Um, should we go to Jesus yet? No. I'm going to do something in the Old Testament. All right. Well, let's do Joshua 22:5. But be very careful to observe the commandment and the law that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all of his ways, to keep his commandments, to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all of your heart and with all of your soul. Right? Ecclesiastes 12:13 as a cross reference. As a cross reference. When all has been heard, the conclusion of the matter is this: fear God and keep his commandments, because this is the whole duty of man. And herein lies the problem and the issue. Fear and love, do they exist in the same place and space? Right? How can you have a undying love for God but fear him at the same time? you know, and you can ask yourself the same about your parents, you know, because I guess it's a micro macro relationship. We love our parents, and some of us have had the fear of God put into us by our parents, right? The things that kept me in line. I never picked up a piece of crack cocaine to sell because my father told me he would kill me. And that was enough. That fear was instilled and it was real enough in me that I'm like, I don't even want to find out if it's real or not because I believed him. You understand? I believed him and I didn't want to experience that at his hands, right? I felt that he would make good on his promise. So with that being said, hold on, y'all. Got some trolls. Gotta get rid of these trolls. All right. Let's go to Joshua 10:12. And again, this is some hyperdimensional magic that we are reading about, you know, that took place. And if it happened in the old world, technically, it's supposed to be multiplied and accessible in this world. Like niggas supposed to be able to be born and doing this frequently. Who are the bloodlines of these prophets, right? Do they still have the DNA? As they fled, okay, the day that the sun stood still. This is the chapter of this particular reading, Joshua 10:12. As they fled before Israel along the descent from Beth Horon to Azekah, the Lord cast down on them large hailstones from the sky, and more of them were killed by the hailstones than by the swords of the Israelites. On the day that the Lord gave the Amorites over to the Israelites, Joshua spoke to the Lord in the presence of Israel. O sun, stand still over Gibeon, O moon, over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still and the moon stopped until the nation took vengeance upon its enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jashar? So the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. So here is the danger, right, of eschatology. You know what I'm saying? If these was my people specifically that they were speaking of, and they were conjoined in their warfare when they was on people's head tops and their helmets, their God, Yahweh, the God of war, was right there with them. And he embellished them and empowered them by doing extra ish. So there would be nothing you can tell me if I was going to war today against my enemy. I'm trying to wipe them because this is the historic precedent that has been set in this book. And they're saying in the book it was done with magic. Nowadays it's being done with military, but fire from the sky is fire from the sky. Right? So yeah, like this is the danger of somebody running around the planet with your birthright. They really believe this shit. And if I was them, I would too. Sorry, I would be on the helmet of my adversaries like crazy. I would not be relenting because this is the precedent that's being set in the book that I'm reading about myself. All right. I'll do a cross reference and then move on. Job 9:7. He commands the sun not to shine. He seals off the stars. All right. Psalms 19:1. For the choir master, a psalm of David, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night, they reveal knowledge without speech or language, without a sound to be heard. So what they're saying is that there is a cosmic canopy that is continuously telling a story. The story don't change, only the actors do. On this plane of existence, the cosmos are always telling a story. The speech is always there. You can always interpret it if you know how to read the stars. The only thing that changes down here is the characters that have been casted to play out the narrative that is continuous. Okay?
On that?
Huh?
Can I expand on that
Please.
on that thought of how you're saying?
Please, yes.
Came to Ephah. That was the same way that they explained it to me. Is that the stories of the Orishas or they're the original creations of who we call Oludamare, who most will understand is God.
God, right?
And the Orishas, their interactions with each other and their interactions, it's nothing new created under the sun. And we even learned this in science. Energy is not created nor destroyed. So based on us or walk with us, whether it governs our Ori, governs our head, or whether it's Orisha that is currently walking, that we receive that Orisha as a warrior, or we go through rites of passage to receive that Orisha, then we look at Orishas as psychology. So like the same way that the Europeans say this is a or this is a dolphin type person, and that is their way of describing person.
Getting choppy.
When the way that we look at Orisha, we look at it as our African ancestral psychology. Understand my people based off Orisha. So I'm always looking at somebody, I'm trying to, okay, well, you might be a Batala, you might, because I know how to come to you. I know how to talk to you. I know how to speak to you. I know it's a
generalization.
And unique, and everybody still has their own inner head on Ori. But for the most part,
yeah.
And somebody else who have Oshun, their interactions are going to be kind of similar with the fits of passion, the attraction, and the love.
Yeah, you know that your audio.
Somebody who, versus somebody who may be Oya spirit. So
look,
it's very important that we understand Orisha, because how can we know who we are? We don't know. All we're doing is reenacting their stories.
Absolutely. You know that your voice is still going in and out. And my people in YouTube land, they really want to hear what you got to say. I mean, I'm sure it's the same over here on Instagram.
It is.
You want to give me your email so I can send you a link, because you could come in on my YouTube, and I think that you would be a lot clearer.
Oh, you want me to see my YouTube? I didn't hear it went out.
If you give me your email, if you don't care about the people having your email online, or no, you could, if you DM me it, I'll grab it on this phone, and I'll send you a link to YouTube, and then you could come in through my YouTube, and you'll be a lot clearer.
Okay, we're gonna have to do it.
Yeah, so DM me your email, and I'm gonna send you this StreamYard link.
Okay, let me step down so I can do it.
Okay, got you. Yeah, y'all, the sister has something very impactful to quote unquote to add on, and I want to make sure that it's honored, that it's coming across in the best receptacle way possible. So I have her tap in through the YouTube feed, and I'm sure the IG family, you're still going to be able to hear it, just not see her. But YouTube, you guys will be able to see her shortly. All right. So let me go to Judges 10:12, because we're still in the Old Testament, and we past an hour and change in. So I gotta get it going. The Lord replied when Philistines and Ammonite oppression, right? Philistines and the Ammonite oppression. Again, melanated people in the Biblos. That we cheer their oppression because we swear that it's not us. Or we just don't care because we think that we're on a winning team. But it's still black on black. Yeah. Did Jesus love the dinosaurs? All right. The Lord replied, when the Egyptians, Amorites, Ammonites, Philistines, Sidonians, Amalekites, or you don't want to be an Amalekite, and Maonites oppressed you, and you cried out to me, did I not save you from their hands? So these are the people who allegedly was on the helmet of the chosen ones. The Egyptians, the Amorites, the Ammonites, the Philistines, the Sidonians, the Amalekites, and the Maonites, right? So God is like, when they was on your helmet, when they was giving you that work, did I not come through for you, right? With the magic and do what needed to be done because you couldn't do it for yourself. But you have forsaken me and served other gods, so I will no longer save you. So he has this contemptuous relationship with his children, and they go back and forth, and he spanks them because he cannot get them for whatever reason to show him the proper homage and honor, even though he does so much for them. You know what I'm saying? They continuously serve other gods. Why did you allow competition and you're supposed to be the only, act in town? How can you be God and these other people have a concept of a God that's so detailed, this so proper, this hitting all of the points that you might be missing? Like, who are these people? Who are these gods, and where do they operate if you are omnipresent and omnipotent and omnipotent? Like, what part of the cosmos do they operate in that they can even bolster to have? Like, they have had to come through for them people these people were worshiping these gods thousands of years before Yahweh was on the scene, right? How, Sway, if you started society and humanity, how you got gods that are older than you and people that are older than the chosen people? They are late to the party. When did this happen? How did they have provisions? How did they have food? How did they have knowledge that your people don't have? How did they have access to things that your people? How did they have rare earth minerals? How did they build temples? How did they have architecture? How did they have science? How did they have art? How did they have intelligence? Thousands and thousands and thousands of years before your people came on the scene. Like, how are you a nigga? Are you operating on CP time, God? Are you operating on CP time? Because you showed up mad late and you didn't show up with the illest magic at the time. You had to battle it out. And it's still not consecrated because the shit that you created that's stymieing you the most is your most trusted lieutenant. Your underboss got you under floors and is scrambling your people down here. But you said that you know where he's at. You got all of these other gods that you battle in, but you can't deal with the devil. And we still don't even know if he's real or not, because he doesn't even have a prominent role in the book until later, after the Reformation, when they started the spookism. Nehemiah 9:27. So you delivered them into the hands of enemies who oppressed them, and in their time of distress they cried out to you. From heaven you heard them, and in your great compassion you gave them deliverers who saved them from the hands of their enemies. But as soon as they had rest, they again did evil in your sight. So you abandoned them to the hands of their enemies, who had dominion over them. When they cried out to you again, you heard from heaven, and you delivered them many times in your compassion. Right? This has been the nonstop narrative that they're saying, that they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You pull them out the grave, you save them. You know what I'm saying? They rest up and what have you. Then they get right back to their BS. You feel me? Worshiping other gods. It sounds like people that I know. It sounds like a group of people that I know. I ain't gonna say no names. I ain't snitching. But goddamn it, that sounds like some people that I know. Let's go to 1 Samuel's 10:12. This is Samuel's sign fulfilled. All those who have formerly known Saul and saw him prophesizing with the prophets asked one another, what has happened to the son of Kish? Is Saul also amongst the prophets? Then the man who lived there replied, and who is their father? So the saying became a proverb, is Saul also amongst the prophets? And when Saul had finished prophesying, he went up to a high place. He went to the mountains. Shout out to Saul, who's Paul, in a different language. So that's not Pope Pablo, that's Pope Sablo. Shout out to the Sablos out there. Acts 2:17. In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Even on my men servants and maid servants, I will pour out my spirit in those days, and they will prophesy. So, if in fact we are in the end of days, if you will, the proverbial end of days, they're saying that the gift of prophecy is being bestowed upon the most lowly of people, the people that they call their manservants or their maidservants, right? In this society, that would be niggers, that would be the Mexican, that would be the immigrants, that would be the people who are being downtrodden and oppressed by the system, right? All of the men's, they're saying that I was dreaming the other night, I was having prophetic dreams about 3-Eye Atlas. You know what I'm saying? If in fact, if we are in those days, then the seals have been broken and the gift of prophecy has been bestowed upon all men and women and maidservants. So we should be sharing these prophetic visions with one another to see if there's commonality in them. Because if enough of us have it, I have a tendency to quote unquote believe, right? Yeah, we might be on to something. That's the one that we should focus on, right? If we're getting these urges to build arks, proverbial arks, that mean that the flood is coming. I said that on the mountain. 6 days later, the floods came. I said, prepare like in the times of Moses for the ark is coming. I mean, prepare for in the times of Moses for the flood, but for the flood is coming. That's the scripture that I ended my sermon with. And then the floods came 6 days later. You know what I'm saying? We need to pay more attention and stop getting into this. Nigga, you got bad credit, so you can't be a prophet. Yeah, it's a lot of shit that's not all the way correct. But I'll be damned if I ain't got some receipts for my prophecies. Right? I ain't fucking that up. You know, judge me fairly on the stuff that I do get right in life. I never said that I was perfect. Right? My credit score ain't what it's supposed to be. Yeah, a lot of people I know lost Bitcoin the other day, but I told you everything that you needed to know. Thank you. The hitch of images. Okay. Yeah, make sure you hit that cash app there, man. Show some love. Shit. My baby need new shoes. I can't buy them in Bitcoin today. My shit got liquidated. Real talk. David defeats Ammon and Aram. This is 2 Samuels 10:12. If the Armenians, no, if the Arameans are too strong for me, said Joab, then you will come to my rescue. And if the Ammonites are too strong for you, then I will come to your rescue. Be strong and let us fight bravely for our people and for the cities of our God. May the Lord do what is good in his sight. So Joab and his troops advanced to fight the Arameans who fled before him. Okay, let me see. I think that we have our guests here in the building. Oh, there we go.
We figured it out. They tried to
Figured it out.
stop us and they couldn't.
Now
Cause
we
we
here.
met
We in the
God and
building,
we use our mind.
and we use our minds, right? We was literally sent here to problem solve as a people.
Wait,
Like,
I can't hear anything.
can't hear me?
I can't hear anything. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I cannot hear you.
No. You you got here, but we can't hear you.
Let me see something.
They hear you. log out and come back in. This is crazy. Hold on. Yeah, I definitely got to get an IT tech team down here because, on Friday I had some technical difficulties and I couldn't get my More Fire Fridays going, but I got it figured out and we're gonna follow it up tonight. I think we're gonna do a double header. We're gonna do the what's the science with me and Akibalon, and we're gonna do more fire. And you guys got church today, so this will be a triple header Sunday. I'm totally dedicated to the family today. I'm disseminating information, creating this content, and just being a powerhouse, getting in front of the BS. You know what I'm saying? Bam! Can you
I
hear?
hear you. I hear you.
We in the building. All right, we cooking with hot grease. Let's get it. All right. So welcome. We are here. Oh, it's right underneath there. You see it. It's pinned. Thank you. Thank you. We're here. And again, we were sent here to problem solve. That was our goal and role and assignment, specifically the men on this planet. Everybody with a brain, we're here to problem solve. You know what I'm saying? And that is the blessing. You can come here, get it done. Okay? We can come here and get it done. So we figured it out. Let's go to, I'm going to hit a cross reference and then I am going to move to the next one, right? Um, this is Philippians 1:27. Nevertheless, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Then, whether I come and see you or only hear about you in my absence, I will know that you stand firm in one spirit, contending together as one for the faith of the gospel, without being frightened in any way by those who oppose you. This is a clear sign of their destruction, but of your salvation, and it is from God. You know what I'm saying? So he like, yeah, in my absence, if you stand firm and you're not shooken by this administration or anything they throw your way, if you don't fold and bend and break, my nigga, when I come through, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna light one up and smoke. I got you. Hold it
I
down.
got you.
Yeah. Don't be scary. You know what I'm saying? Victory is ours as long as you keep telling yourself and you wholeheartedly. And wholeheartedly means all four vowels. If you wholeheartedly believe that and know it in your spirit that victory is guaranteed and is certain, then so shall it be. It
And
cannot be
and I
any
just
other way.
want to make a quick comment because as an Aquarius, we deal with the I know. We deal with the I know. And I think that as we move out of these religious contexts and we move more so into our inner divinity, not just spirituality, because that's another matrix. But as we move into our inner divinity, we have to start saying, I know. And
Yes,
and because that's a level of self-trust. A lot of what I see in religion is actually is doing the opposite of what it's really supposed to do if it was being done in the right context, which is move you and push you closer to yourself, knowing yourself, trusting your relationship with spirit, trusting the signs and insight that you get. So we need to step away from the I believe. Because even when you look at the word, it says be lie. And like and anytime I use believe when I'm trying to manifest, but once I get that confirmation that spirit is in agreement with that my will is in agreement with spirit will, then I just know. There's no more
yes,
believing. I don't have to be the lie. I don't have to try to find ways to embody it. I can actually rest and relax now, knowing that everything that I am is attracting and magnetizing all that I need, want, and need.
absolutely. Right. And as only an Aquarius can explain it, right? As me being the Pope and the steward, my job as well is to say that belief precedes knowledge or gnosis, because one has to have that quote unquote ability to step in blind faith to say, yo, my eyes is closed. I don't yet know that there's something, a rock in front of me that my foot's gonna land on, but I believe it enough. And once I feel the firmness of that rock, oh, I'm popping my shit. Now I'm doing backflips on it. I'm standing, I'm doing crane stands on it. I know that it's there and I know it's gonna hold me up. And then there's nothing left to discuss because now I can walk this whole path with my eyes closed. And this blind faith, you know what I'm saying, has carried me in a level of gnosis where now I know to trust myself. So it's a process, and the thing that the teachers before me came and did is they totally pulled away the carpet of belief. And when I studied Napoleon Hill and the Masters of Manifestation, they explained that these concepts predate religion. Belief and faith is a words that were here before the religion got their act together and made them liturgical terms. These terms are foundational terms for manifestation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In on the path for one to know thyself. But yes, we are moving through a new age and a new phase. And in this new age and new phase, it's gonna look like you. Like there will be women teaching, you know what I'm saying, and
Mm-hmm.
getting directly to it. My shit, I'm still here putting pieces together. You know what I'm saying? Like I got one foot here, I got one foot there, because that's what I represent, you know what I'm saying? But y'all represent something where you're like, yeah, we ain't even paying attention to that shit. We over here now, and it's cool. That's cool, right? So let me go to 1 Kings 10:12. This one is very interesting because I wanted to build with you on this last week, but you couldn't get in. But you're here now, and we're gonna talk about it. The Queen of Sheba. Hold on.
Oh Lord.
And y'all forgive me if I get too humorous on this, but this is a fork in the road. A lot of things go back to this. The Queen of Sheba. This is 1 Kings 10:12. The fleet of Hiram that brought gold from Ophir also brought from Ophir a great cargo of almug wood and precious stones. Right? They had that drip, had them stones. The king made the almug wood into steps for the house of the Lord and for the king's palace, and into lyres and harps for the singers. Never before has such almug wood been brought in, nor has such been seen to this day. King Solomon gave the queen of Sheba all she desired, whatever she asked, besides what he had given her out of his royal bounty. Then she left and returned to her own country along with her servants. So I was gonna name today's presentation. It ain't tricking if you got it.
Oh whoa. Oh
Woo.
whoa. Right on time.
Right on time. Yeah, it ain't tricking if you got it. Solomon, he really laid it out. You know what I'm saying? He made sure that the queen had everything that she need, and he sent her back with a seed. They ain't mentioned that part. you know, the ways in which he went about doing that are up for discussion. I don't want to say that he was the first Diddy and he spiked the drink, but he did. But out of that, we get a whole bloodline that is messianic. You feel me? Shout out to the Kushite Empire. Shout out to the Ethiopian Bedouin. Saying shout out to the spirit of Menelik and that bloodline. Um, yeah, yeah. Anything you want to touch on that before I move on? or should I do a cross reference? Because
Yeah,
this
let's
is
do a
this
cross
is
reference.
all right. We'll do a cross reference. 2 Chronicles 2:3 to 10. Right. Well, even before we do that, because this is a very very serious part of the book and the narrative, because it deals with the guile of what Solomon represented in terms of his riches, but it also deals with a level of deceit in terms of what he potentially did to Makeda, or who they call the Queen of Sheba. But the thing that comes from this is, to me, it looks like the obvious observation that there becomes a bloodline of Judah and it becomes a bloodline of Jerusalem. And even today, when we're looking at quote unquote the Zionists, and we're looking at who they call the Falasha, the people that are coming from Ethiopia, you know what I mean? Like, all of this ties back into this particular situation. So I'll do the cross reference. Um, 2 Chronicles 2:3 to 10. Then Solomon sent word to Hiram, king of Tyre, do for me as you did for my father David when you sent him cedars to build himself a house to live in. Behold, I am about to build a house for the name of the Lord my God, to dedicate to him, for burning fragrant incense before him, for displaying this showbread continuously, and for making burnt offerings every morning as well and evening, as well as on the Sabbaths, new moons, and appointed feasts of the Lord our God. This is ordained for Israel forever. The house that I am building will be great, for our God is greater than all gods, right? With the plural. And this leads to so many things that are taking place today that we cannot ignore it and just gloss it over. When you understand the psychology of a people who believe this, right, then they would do things as egregious as penetrate the Al Aqsa Mosque or the sacred temple and attempt to do or resurrect or return animal sacrifice there. And to me, I know that that was the reason that these people had a 2 year war, right? Because they violated that mosque, they violated the compact and the contract that these people had made with them about not breaching that particular uh, place of worship, right? But they're like, yeah, we got every right to do these animal worships or sacrifices. So, you know, I don't know, again, if you want to touch on that necessarily.
I mean, it just sounds like one of the words that you said that stood out was contracts. And we have to like it goes back to what I was saying about being able to see in the natural, but also to be able to see in the spiritual. We have contracts with people. So even with Solomon, Queen of Sheba, regardless, it does not sound like what he did was a righteous thing. It doesn't sound like he did it to be righteous. It sounded like he fulfilled something that he had to do. It sounds like he fulfilled the contract, whether that was a spiritual contract that he had with her, and that was something that was prophesied, and it had to come into place to create these bloodlines, or whether that was a physical contract that he had to do that to create peace among the nations, or among the nation he was in, and whatever nation it is that she was in and or from, because a lot of times that was the role that the queen served. you know when I did my studies on Nefertiti and Akhenaten, Nefertiti was a pharaoh, and she wanted you to know she was a pharaoh. She was not a queen. She was not and a queen is up underneath the husband, because a queen can still be used as a pawn in the game of life, or in the wars of life. So when you have power, and when you're sitting in a certain seat, if somebody else is more powerful than you and they want to overtake you, they'll come take your queen, or you got to send her off.
Right, like in
It
chess,
ain't
right?
tricking if you. It ain't tricking if you got it. You got to send her off if that's going to create peace between nations. So what Akhenaten did was he made, even as the pharaoh, he appointed his queen as pharaoh too. And that was a bold move. That was a bold standard. So when we see Nefertiti, we see her beauty, but we have to respect her for her mind. Because when we see her, and I literally got her tatted right here. When we see her, we see that crown.
That's
We
right.
always know Nefertiti to have this crown. We don't even honor the pharaohs for the pharaoh's crown the way that we honor Nefertiti for wearing that pharaoh crown. But what she did, and ultimately is what came to the demise of her and her husband, was that he made her equal to him. She was not subservient. She wasn't a helper. She wasn't a part of. She was one and the same.
Right.
And so
She
in
was
that
the
sense,
divine cohort. Right.
and that was a power move, especially for the way that the world sees women. Even still to this day, the world sees women as uh uh a code, uh um in conjunction with, you know as a
Yes.
woman, because
Um.
I live it and because I walk it. It's almost as if you're not valuable if you don't have a man, and your value it goes by the type of man that you have or that you're able to attract. So when a woman like me, and excuse my frankness, who don't give a fuck about a nigga, who can stand on their own regardless if they have the help and support of a man or not, and that's how I was raised. I was raised very different. I was raised to be a matriarch. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times my plight with certain men, and it don't matter if it's a man that got a lot or if it's a man that have absolutely nothing. It's the same struggle. Is them understanding or not being offended or intimidated by the power that I have. Because it's like, wait, you're black, you're young, you're successful, you're beautiful, and you got a nice shape, but none of that matters when you open your mouth and I can hear the work that you put in on yourself. And so and I feel like in these times, and this is why I always give you your flowers, blue pill, because you make space for real women in a time where everybody want to preach against what you see. You want to talk against it. You want to push the world forward. You want to be a changer. You want to be a mover and a shaker. But even when Christ did it, he knew that he had to empower the women.
Mm.
He understood where his real true partnership came from. He didn't see women as beneath him. He didn't see women as what they had in between their legs and tried to find value or disvalue behind that choices, decisions, because he understood life. And even when they tried to stone the lady, he said, "You without sin cast the first stone." Technically, he's the only person that could have thrown the stone, and even he didn't. So with all of that being said, when it goes back to Solomon, when it goes back to it ain't tricking if you got it, it's a and that it was about fulfilling a contract. And we
Mm.
forget that we have spiritual contracts with people. Sometimes you have spiritual contracts with a person who was just there as a karmic lesson. And you could try to walk away 1,000 times and you find yourself coming back and back and back again. Why? Because you did not learn the lesson.
Right.
And then sometimes you have certain contracts with people and you're supposed to be a point of exchange. And when you don't fulfill that contract, there's consequences and repercussions. And even an ungodly man can understand contracts. Even an ungodly man can understand contracts. Even an ungodly man can understand how to honor a woman. A lot of men in modern day, because they don't like what they hear. We don't like what we hear on social media, but we have to take it, sit with it, and digest it enough to transform the narrative of what's being said. Because I hear a lot of men saying that a lot of women are modern day prostitutes, but then I hear a lot of women that are just tired of putting out and not being honored in that. And so it's like, where do you find that honor? Where do you find that honor? Where are the men actually honoring women? Women don't get. How do we know that you honor us unless you give to us? How do we know that you honor us unless you care for us? Now maybe it's a lot of miscommunication because there's a lot of pain and trauma that's embedded in that message. But to be honest, Men don't take care of women no more. And women got to take care of themselves, the man, the
They
kids, the
don't.
whole community. And so we can't even have certain conversations until there's an understanding of
Yeah,
what tricking really is. And we got to
yeah.
give it a new name and give it a new word, because the
We,
the the those that want to change the message and those that want to alter the relationship between the original black man and the original black woman, they
yes,
have created they have created a subservient category, and it's niggas and it's bitches.
yeah. And I
So you
and I
got
spoke on that, right. And I spoke on that the other day. Technically, if a quote unquote nigga has the lifespan of a fruit fly, the concept of a nigga was never made to be a husband. You don't have a nigga's not supposed to live to be old, to be a grandpa on the porch, right? Uh, let me
but
say,
it,
like,
it is our duty as a woman.
no,
A real woman can turn a nigga into a god. A real woman can do these things. And I'm gonna just say it just off of my strength and my plight, because I can't speak for every black woman. But what I can say is it's hard to be an original black woman. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what location you're in. It doesn't matter what setting you're in. A lot of people, they see it and they see you, and a lot of people say that they want to change, but they really don't. A lot of people are comfortable. A lot of people don't really want. Most people, most times when I go places, I don't speak because most people don't want to hear what I have to say, and I'm not going to cast my pearls to swine,
right, but
because it just takes one conversation, one divine conversation with a primordial mother. It don't have to be me. It takes one divine conversation with a primordial water for to literally change the trajectory of your life. And I think that more people need to honor real women when y'all see them, because the hoes get honored, the bitches get honored, the bitches get bags, the bitches get Chanel's, the bitches get Birkins, the hoes get flued out, the hoes get trips. The ones that shut up and don't say nothing and are not standing in their divinity, they get tours. They sitting in a seat that don't belong to them. And so when a fire breathing dragon like me show up, I'm too hard to deal with. I'm
yes.
hard to handle. My truth don't want to be digested. My truth don't want to be don't want to be heard, because niggas ain't really trying to change nothing.
So
And
let me.
I don't care how you show up. I don't care what your imagery is. I don't care how much knowledge you try to speak. The proof is in the pudding, and the proof is always in a heart posture. Cause never. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
And look, I mean, everything that you said is right and exact. Shout out to Blue Dream. She says this as well a lot, and as best as I can, because I think that I was kind of there when a lot of the shifting took place. So I don't speak as somebody that was from the outside looking in. You know what I mean? I was there. I saw what took place, and there was a change in the value proposition. The value proposition, when that shifted, right, then the effect of it is the things that you're speaking about. The causation is the shift in the value proposition, you know, and the proposition now was for the P, you know what I'm saying? And when they said that the P is free because the crack costs money, that threw everything off. The value proposition changes forever because men were now seeing things that they never saw before in terms of the value of the P being lowered to a sub of a subpar level that had never been accessible, right? And
Mm-hmm.
these were some of the baddies that they grew up looking at. There was their teachers, uh, their caretakers, their mama's best friend that they can never get to, and now they found them in a subservient level. I'm hearing this from young men who are 15 and 16 that now feel like big men because they got a piece of work and it's willing women is willing to do whatever she needs to for it, and they felt like they had power. and they had never been normalized from that point. There's no catching them. So by the time they're 20 something, they are they're the catch in the club. They're the one that the baddies is after, but your what they call it, your Monday crush, you feel me, has no standards. He had a crackhead giving him top. That's how he learned. That's how his sexuality was normalized coming up. You feel me? But now he has to pick up the pool. He got light skin Keisha and them to decide against. And then everything in between that gets denuded because he never wanted that to begin with. And they wanted him. And that value proposition is always going to be lopsided. So, yeah, they don't want to hear what you have to say. But the fact that you have something to say should be the fact that you're saying it, because a word can shift. Words are worlds. And you never know who needs to hear that word or when it needs to be heard. You feel me?
But
And
that's the value of the woman. That, and as a woman, I know exactly where my value lies. And when I get tired of things, I remove my presence completely and entirely. I take the sun with me, because as a woman, I had to learn. Like, my journey had to. I've always knew my value. Look at my name. My dad told me exactly who I was as a kid. He made sure that I knew that I was a Nubian queen. I did not grow up with certain um I didn't grow up in certain matrix, but at the same time, I did grow up in certain matrix environments. You get what I'm saying?
I
That
do.
were designed to take a truth from me, right? So that truth, me being who I am, the type of woman that I am, and most women that I know that are like me, hide. You know why? Because the world don't deserve us, and I don't, and I'm all for it. I'm only going to go. I can't only, I'm a woman. I'm still feminine. Even when I'm, operating my balance, I'm
Right.
still feminine first. And so I can only go into places that honor me. And if places do not honor me, I will literally like disappear. I say it
Well,
all the time on my page. I say, I don't really exist for real. And I have learned that that is how I have stood in that value. Because if a certain environment is not honoring who I am, it doesn't see me. So I might as well, I'm not a background character. I could never be an NPC. I created this matrix.
right.
So
Well, let me say
so
this just real quick. Again, here at the ministries, we see you, and we understand the importance of these conversations, and we understand the importance of creating a space, and making a safe space where these conversations can flourish. If Charlie Kirk can have a safe space created for him to spew hatred, right? Why are we not going to bat to hear our women's frustration, knowing that we can't go forward without our women? So
and
there's,
it's not a hatred. It's not a
I'm
hatred
just saying,
because
hold on. Let me qualify. My next comment was, I know where the pain and the trauma comes from. So I know it's not hatred. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna do this all day because we read in each other's minds and we can finish one another's sentences. But you know, I just want you to know, and other people such as yourself that have input, that have commentary, and feel that they're invisible. It's like, no, we have to create the world that we want to live in. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
ju- I just want to make sure that it's being communicated the right way. And etymology is everything. So when we say words like hatred, when we say words like trauma and pain, it's not a place of trauma, and it's not a place of pain, and it's certainly not a place of hatred. It is a place of, I honor myself. It is a place of,
Hmm.
I don't need it. It is a place of self accountability. It is a
It's a
place
value
of,
proposition.
it is a place of self reflection, and it does not have to come across soft. I don't give a fuck about being politically correct or saying things in a way that make people feel good, because ain't nobody never made me feel good. I care about speaking the truth, because I am built for everything that life have brought my way, and that will continue, whether it's good or bad. but that's because I deal with a certain level of knowledge of things that I just know. I know. I know what be going on, okay? I don't need nobody to clap for me, congratulate me, or even confirm me. That's how in tune with spirit I am. But for those people that are on their journey, but for those people that are on their journey, a lot of people will get misguided.
Absolutely.
A lot of women will fall under misguidance because they will get tripped up on their journey if they don't see and or hear the real raw unapologetic black dopeness Nubian queeness that have to be heard and seen, and that is why I show up, not for no points to be proven,
Right.
not for no other reason, just only for the only reason I allowed myself to be resurrected, because I had made a conscious choice, a decision that this matrix did not deserve to hear nothing I had to say, and everybody could go to hell in a handbag.
Right.
And I just live all my days enjoying my life, enjoying my fun, doing what I want to do, because I
But
never
again,
needed, don't never need anything, any other material, whatever. You get what I'm saying? But but I have understood the level of effect and impact that I do have on other women that have been through what I've been through, and that have either chosen to, number one, be silenced, or number two, to become like what they're greater than. And I
let
rest
me
with
say
that.
this right again, and I want you to not be, and and I often hear this from women, who we platform, and they be like, "I'm just here for us," and I be like, "Y'all here for us too," you know what I mean? Because nothing's going to change without this conversation being heard by us all. Because sometimes your perspectives have never been heard by men, right? I might be familiar with them, but it might be foreign. So the ability to shift somebody's paradigm, right? You have that ability with words because sometimes you can drop a gem, it can shake somebody's entire foundation up. You're saying the same things that I just said to you. And that's what I'm saying. There's also an importance that comes in with listening. So we're never wasting time because we got a lot of time to make up for. I said you here because you got something that needs to be heard, and I want you to say it, right? So there are people in the world that do care. There are platforms that are open and accessible for people that breathe fire and that are not intimidated by it. But at the same time, let's learn to listen to one another, and also at the same time, know that your message is universal. It's going to help women, but it's not just for women. You know what I'm saying? These men, the reason that there's a difference in the value proposition is that the men don't have the education. And the reason that things are offset is women are following behind men because it's a natural propensity for them because we're all primal. So our mating rituals,
It's
the fact
not.
that
It's
is
not.
hold
It's
on, hold on,
not.
hold on,
It's
hold on.
not.
Our primary urge when we came here, our primary primal urge is procreation. That's the primary urge, right? There's a primary urge. We ain't go
Which
through
came
enough.
first, the man or the woman?
I'm not saying that. That's either neither
Which
here
came
nor
first?
there.
Which came
That
first, the man or the woman? The man
that's
did not come first.
but
So
that's
if the
not
man did not come first, then if the man did not come first, and if the woman came first, and if the woman created a man, it's not a it's our primal function is not procreation, and that is the problem. Men do not even understand woman. The first time I ever met a man that actually understood me, he understood me better than I understood myself. It was a man who had studied the black woman. I'm talking about biologically, mentally, and physically. I'm talking about sacredly and spiritually. So, because we have these certain foundational beliefs, we have to amass that, because
what's our primal
I,
urge.
we're not here about primal urges and procreating. That's
I'm
not the
asking you.
foundation.
I'm
That's not the
saying,
basics of
what's the primal urge? If again, and this is primal, what I'm saying,
connection. Connection looks different for men than it looks for women.
granted,
It looks for men. The connection looks like connecting. For women, and it's still true to this day, for women, connection looks like conversation and intimacy. And so a woman will connect with a man to get the kind of connection that she's looking for. But a lot of women are left empty because once they give that man that connection that he want, they don't get the connection. They don't get what they're due back. And so there's a lack of reciprocity. And because we live in a patriarchal society, we are taught certain things as children. And so we go on and believe them. But when we sit back with what we know, it really takes for a man to get to the end of his life, for him to decide that he really does need that connection back with a woman. And he's not concerned about procreating at the end of his life. He's concerned about not spending the end of his life alone. And guess what? A woman will spend the end of her years alone. Why? Because she's finally learned how to find connection and intimacy in hobbies, in social circles, in clubs, in children, and in grandchildren, while 90% of the time the man has bullshitted his whole life looking for money and vagina and get to the end of their life and then don't nobody want to, there's nothing to be reciprocated back to him.
granted, since time memorial, right? The fact that we are physically still here today, regardless of how long we existed, bloodline wise, let's say that we've been on this planet for millions of years, right? We had to procreate. There had to be a mating ritual had to take place. So what you're speaking about is social conditioning that takes place around mating. The reciprocation of it or the value proposition is the woman says, I want this out of it, and the man says, I want that. I'm telling you, that is shot to shit. As of recently, though, this ain't something that has been taking place for thousands of years offset, right? Regardless of whether the matriarch has been displaced, maybe for thousands of years, there still has been a value proposition that has been met for there to be procreation. The evidence of it is that you are alive today, right? And you got blood in your veins that is millions of years old. So the one thing that has not been disturbed amongst us as people has been our primary urge to procreate. You know what I'm saying? And this generation is disrupted because these children no longer want to procreate. They've never made children like this on the face of the planet. So that tells you that things have been changed. The value propositions are totally off because the things that you feel that you're telling me that you're expressing, it has embodied itself in the variation of children that are being born. But they like, I don't even want to entertain the thought of this game because it is totally lopsided, and I am going to receive nothing but a backing. That's all this nigga just wants. And again, birthing niggers and bitches creates this particular process. A nigger and a bitch is not meant to propagate or continue a bloodline. They have the lifespan of a fruit fly. A bitch was not meant to be somebody's grandmother at the age of 70. It just don't work like that. So the fact that they have through social sciences, again, association, right? Through social, the way that we associate with one another in the games that we're now playing, right? These are the things that are offsetting people's propensities to say, I want to be with this person, or this person values and sees me as an asset in their life, or I'm coupled with this person that they're going to like Akhenaten and position me as a cohort rather than somebody that's behind me, right? These things have recently changed. I belong to a generation called the Pluto and Libra. Pluto is transformation, Libra is relationships. When I was born in the 70s, it was the first generation that was latchkey. They were born in broken homes where both parents wasn't there, nor did they want to be. Everything after that that I have seen has been a result of where that disturbance comes from. So, like I said, I'm here. I hear your pain, and the people identify it. We all identify with it. We're here attempting as best as we can to figure out what it is that we can do. You know what I'm saying? And build something better. But I gotta get back into the scripture because I'm still in the Old Testament, and we 2 hours in.
Oh, go ahead. You was waiting on me.
I'm just saying. I'm, yeah,
I,
I'm just gonna barrel through it. I'm gonna ask you: do you feel like is there anything that you still need to say that you feel that you haven't said before we move
um,
on?
I, I feel like a lot of things get miscommunicated, or not even miscommunicated, because the communication is clear. I think that things get intentionally misinterpreted because people do not want to
Mhm.
hear. People just do not want to hear what is being said. And then most people that don't want to hear, most people that will are open to having a conversation at the point where it gets uncomfortable is at the point of accountability, right? And because I always hear it, especially on social media, it's like women need to take accountability, women need to take accountability. But I think that truly to have this conversation that we're trying to have, and to truly have
We're
it
not
in a
trying.
transformative
We're having
way.
it. We're having it. We're not trying. That's another word I need you to work on. We're
We
gonna work on that.
okay.
We're trying.
Oh
We have.
well, that's why I changed it. That's why I say to truly have it in, and to truly have this particular conversation in a transformative way would
Mhm.
have to be, we would have literally have to have, and I literally saw it. We would literally have to have both male and female sitting at a table taking accountability, and it would be a collective accountability, but it would have to be that, because I think that a lot of times we're just trying to explain certain things, and this is not something that needs to be explained and philosophized and made into a theology. This is something that needs to be felt. This is an intimate conversation. And I'm gonna tell you I'm an artist, so I'm sensitive. But my sensitivity, even as a woman, it don't come across as tears. It come across as me wanting to cut somebody out. And I am from Miami, so I do have those words. But you know what?
Mhm.
I know why now. I've always been blocked from seeing the comments, because I
The
don't wanna
comments is right
I don't
there.
wanna troll the I
They
don't
right
wanna
there.
troll the troll back. This ain't my platform. But if this was my platform, somebody said I bet she got an OnlyFans. Tell that bitch I don't. 4 kids. You ain't never known nobody this
Hold
motherfucking
on.
low.
Hold on.
Hold on, wait. No, because I
Hold
have
on.
to. And I know you're not gonna be able to put this
I,
on
where
there,
did
but
where
I
did you
have
even
to,
see that at?
because
Where did
it was
you?
a
I didn't
comment
see
that was
that. Where
in
did you
there.
see that at?
And it was a comment that was in there. This is my whole thing. This is my whole thing. This is what the fuck y'all niggas need. Y'all need a real bitch like me on a motherfucking platform. Blue, you might not be able to put this one on YouTube. So I'm gonna need you to, I will help
See,
you build
see,
out your domain. I will
we're
help
on
you build
YouTube.
out your website. So you
Hold
could
on.
put this one on your thing. Because
I know.
no,
Hold on.
uh,
We're on
I
YouTube. We're
have
on
to. I
YouTube.
have
We're
to. I
on
have to.
YouTube. We're on YouTube. We're on
It's live.
YouTube. It
Oh
is.
well,
Yeah.
YouTube
So
gonna learn today. For
I
the
know,
nigga
but
that
I
said
don't
I
want
bet
you.
she got
I
an
don't want
OnlyFans,
you. I
for the
don't want you
nigga
to
that
burn
said
down the YouTube. Let's stay on YouTube. We on YouTube. Calm down. And again, don't
I'll
get
go
triggered
live. I'll
by
go live.
quotes.
I'm gonna go live on my page. Make sure y'all follow me on Billion444 on Instagram. And I don't give a damn about getting banned. Cause y'all ain't never seen a real revolutionary. Y'all ain't never seen a real cosmic queen. Y'all ain't never seen a real ethereal spiritual baddie like me. But I bet you met one today. Cause all the motherfucking hard work I put in on my heart chakra, overcoming levels of hell that a pussy nigga couldn't even stand in if they was me. I wish the fuck you would ever talk to me like that, bitch. I had them niggas outside your shit ready to light it up. And that's how I'm always coming. Cause that's how it really ever is. Oh, I bet she fuck with the YNs and do. And the gods fuck with me too. Cause I'm the queen of both heaven and hell, bitch. Mother Mary in the motherfucking flesh. And I'm back with a vengeance. Cause a bitch tried to take my crown, tried to take my throne, and tried to destiny swap with me. Fuck y'all.
Okay. 2 Kings 10:12. Right. So Jehu killed everyone in Jezreel who remained of the house of Ahab, as well as his great men and close friends and priests, leaving him without a single survivor. Then Jehu set out toward Samaria at Beth Eked of the shepherds. Jehu met some relatives of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and asked, "Who are you?" "We are relatives of Ahaziah," they answered, "and we have come down to greet the sons of the king and the queen mother." Cross reference 2 Kings 9:30. Now, when Jehu arrived in Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, so she painted her eyes, adorned her head, and looked down from a window. And as Jehu entered the gate, she asked, "Have you come in peace, O Zimri, murderer of your master?" He looked up at the window and called out, "Who is on my side? Who?" And 2 or 3 eunuchs looked down at him. We're going to keep it moving. 1 Chronicles 10:12. Jabesh Gilead's tribute to Saul. When the people of Jabesh Gilead heard about everything the Philistines had done to Saul, all their men of valor set out and retrieved the bodies of Saul and his sons and brought them to Jabesh. And they buried their bones under the oak in Jabesh and fasted 7 days. So Saul died for his unfaithfulness to the Lord, because he did not keep the word of the Lord and even consulted a medium for guidance. Saul, Saul, Saul. What are we going to cross reference this with? Mm-hmm. 2 Kings 9:34. This is the cross reference. And yeah, all because of Saul. I'm not making this up. Then Jehu went in and ate and drank. "Take care of this cursed woman," he said, "and bury her, for she was the daughter of a king." But when they went out to bury her, they found nothing but her skull, her feet, and the palms of her hand. So they went back and told Jehu, who replied, "This is the word of the Lord, which he spoke through his servant Elijah the Thisbite. On a plot of ground at Jezreel, the dogs will devour the flesh of Jezebel." These are the cross references that are popping up. 2 Chronicles 10:12. Rebellion against Rehoboam. "Whereas my father burdened you with the heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. Whereas my father scourged you with whips, I will scourge you with scorpions." After 3 days, Jeroboam and all of the people returned to Rehoboam, since the king had said, "Come back to me on the 3rd day." And the king answered them harshly. King Rehoboam rejected the advice of the elders. Mm, mm, mm. 1 Kings 12:16. When all of Israel saw that the king had refused to listen to them, they answered the king, "What portion do we have in David, and what inheritance in the son of Jesse? To your tents, O Israel, look now to your own house, O David." So the Israelites went home, but Rehoboam still reigned over the Israelites living in the cities of Judah. Then King Rehoboam sent out Adoram, who was in charge of the forced labor, but all Israel stoned him to death. And King Rehoboam mounted his chariot in haste and escaped to Jerusalem. All right, now we in Ezra. Ezra 10:12. I got to keep it moving through this because I have not even gotten to the New Testament yet. The People's Confession of Sin. Right? Let me check on YouTube. Y'all all right? Are y'all all right? Over there, YouTube land, y'all good? Yeah, I got this is the first of I got a triple header today over here on YouTube. So, please bear with me, y'all. I gotta do a what's the science with Kibalon later, and we have to follow up and do more Fire Fridays because I had technical difficulties on Friday and I have to make good on that. So please bear with me. All right. I'm gonna get through this. Okay. Yeah, y'all still good, right? All right. Because y'all know I share this channel with Red. I don't want to get the channel striked. I got blamed for getting the last YouTube taken, and I have not been able to live that down yet in the eyes of my beloved brother or our constituents, because a lot of people are reliant on this particular feed remaining strong and up. I had the Know the Ledge page for 14 years. 14. Okay. So I have to be very responsible to the fact that I'm just not in this alone. Okay. Ezra 10:12, the people's confession of sin. Now, therefore, make a confession to the Lord, the God of your fathers, and do his will. Separate yourselves from the people of the land and from your foreign wives. And the whole assembly responded in a loud voice, truly, we must do as you say. But there are many people here, and it is the rainy season. We are not able to stay out in the open, nor is this the work of 1 or 2 days, for we have transgressed greatly in this matter. Right? Nehemiah 8:1 is a cross reference. At that time, all of the people gathered together in a square before the water gate, and they asked Ezra, the scribe, to bring out the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord had commanded for Israel. On the first day of the 7th month, Ezra the priest brought the law before the assembly of men and women and all who could listen and understand. So Ezra read it aloud from daybreak until noon as he faced the square before the water gate in front of the men and women and those who could understand. And all of the people listened attentively to the book of the law, okay, to the Torah, first 4 books, okay. Let's keep it moving. All right, Ezra, Nehemiah. Let's get to Nehemiah. Shout out to Nehemiah. Nehemiah 10:12. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna move past this because this is the signers of the covenant. Okay, the signers of the covenant. I'll do a cross reference, but we don't need to get into the signers of the covenant necessarily. Right? They signed the covenant. Nehemiah 9:38. In view of all of this, we make a binding agreement, putting it in writing and sealing it with the names of our leaders, Levites, and priests. Right? So what covenant do we operate underneath? The title of this show is the Cosmic Covenant. You know what I'm saying? We have a cosmic covenant for those of us that are melanated, for those of us that are covered in the stars, for those of us that have a cosmic imperative because we derive from a cosmic origin, right? Our cosmic covenant is to make good on our cosmic covenant. You feel me? Like, you have this quantum mechanism, you have this quantum computer that you came here with, solve some problems, right? Create something, enhance technology, right? But also challenge yourself to live until 100 plus. See if you can get the most out of this spacesuit. You have quantum technology with you. Melanin is a semiconductor, right? And it operates even better under pressure. So there should be no excuses that we making. Oh, so what? You born to the struggle. You got access to convert that into a diamond. What you waiting on? Stop crying. Ain't nobody listening. You know what I'm saying? Even the heavens won't. They like, nigga, you're covered in a blessing. You have a covenant covering. What you waiting on? 2 Kings 23:3. So the king stood by the pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to follow the Lord and to keep his commandments, decrees, and statutes with all his heart and all his soul, and to carry out the words of the covenant that were written in this book. And all of the people entered into the covenant. Right? What is our covenant? What does our contract entail? And what are you doing to fulfill it? Are you making good on your contracts? Feel me? And that goes beyond just, what we are couched and enveloped in. Are you making good on your real life contracts? Are you making binding agreements with your mouth that you're not being consistent with? I'm working on making sure all of those things in my life are consistent. In some areas they still need work. I'm finding that out. In some areas they still need work. Just being honest. Right? Job's plea to God. And this is all interesting because it's all falling in place with one another. You clothed me with skin and flesh and knit me together with bones and sinews. You have granted me life and loving devotion, and your care has preserved my spirit. Yet you concealed these things in your heart, and I know that this was in your mind. Let's do a cross reference to that. That's powerful. And it talks directly to what I'm speaking about your cosmic covenant, the fact that you are covered in your cosmic blessing. You have a quantum covering. You got this water inside of you that's older than the sun, nigga. Activate it. Tap into the memory of it. Fuck what they wrote in the book, nigga. Like, you don't know where you come from. You don't know the cosmic story. We need to spend more time with ourselves and stop listening to everybody else. Psalms 139:13. For you formed my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and I know this very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth, in the depths of the earth. In the depths of the earth, right? In the womb, in the depths of the earth. Think about the womb as the depths of the earth, hollowed out in the pits, right? Psalms 10:12, the perils of the pilgrim. He says to himself, God is forgotten. He hides his face and never sees. Arise, O Lord, lift up your hand. O God, do not forget the helpless. Why has the wicked man renounced God? He says to himself, you will never call me to account. Okay. Isaiah 51:9. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Wake up as in days past, as in generations of old. Wake up as in days past, as in generations of old. Was it not you who cut Rahab to pieces, who pierced through the dragon? I can't make all this up. This is just, it's the way that the word is falling. It's the way that the word is falling. I'm just reading it. This shit is just popping up like this. Don't think that I'm being facetious. I'm not being facetious. It's just the way that the word is lining up today. Isaiah 2:19. Men will flee to caves and the rocks and holes in the ground, away from the terror of the Lord and from the splendor of his majesty when he rises to shake the earth. Okay? Let's move on. Let's get out of Psalms. Let's get into Proverbs. Still in Proverbs, huh? Whew. Proverbs 10:12. Let's get it. Solomon's Proverbs. This is the wise son. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Hatred stirs up dissension, but love covers all transgressions. Wisdom is found on the lips of the discerning, but a rod is for the back of him who lacks judgment. Pause. But a rod is for the back of him who lacks judgment. It's like, nigga, don't slip up in them situations. You be hearing about how these niggas sign these contracts and they end up in these parties and shit like that, and the nigga slips something in your drink, and before you know it, you on a Diddy tape. Yeah, don't slip up. Don't be in this world be blinding and shit. Like, don't be out here thinking that everybody is your friend either. You feel me? Or nigga might slip you a Mickey and you might end up with a rod in your back because you lack judgment and you can't tell who your friends are or where you're supposed to be and when you're supposed to be there. Pause. No Diddy. In the most biblical way. No Diddy in the most biblical way. Wisdom and folly. I swear this shit is just lining up. If the snake bites before it is charmed, there is no profit for the charmer. Hold on. I'll read it again. I'll read it again. If the snake bites before it is charmed, there is no profit for the charmer. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool consume him. The beginning of his talk is folly, and the end of his speech is evil madness. Proverbs 12:18. Speaking rashly is like a piercing sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Proverbs 15:12. The tongue of the wise commands knowledge or commends knowledge, but the mouth of the fool spouts folly. Jesus. Wow. James 3:2. We all stumble in many ways. If anyone is never at fault in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to control his whole body. But when we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can guide the whole animal. Consider ships as well. Although they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot is inclined. Right? Um, now we get to Isaiah. I've been doing cross references for Isaiah. Now we're in Isaiah. Isaiah 10:12. Judgment on Assyria. As I have done to Samaria and its idols, will I not also do to Jerusalem and her idols? So when the Lord has completed all of his work against Mount Zion and Jerusalem, he will say, I will punish the king of Assyria for the fruit of his arrogant heart and the proud look in his eyes. For he says, by the strength of my hand I have done this, and by my wisdom, for I am clever. I have removed the boundaries of nations and plundered their treasures. Like the mighty one, I subdued their rulers. Jeremiah 50:31. Behold, I am against you, O arrogant one, declares the Lord of hosts. For your day has come, the time when I will punish you. The arrogant one will stumble and fall with no one to pick him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities to consume all of those around him. Jesus Christ. Daniel 4:30. The king exclaimed, this is not Babylon the Great, which I myself have built as a royal residence by the might of my power and for the glory of my majesty? While the words were still in the king's mouth, a voice came from heaven. It is decreed to you, King Nebuchadnezzar, that the kingdom has departed from you. You will be driven away from mankind to live with the beasts of the field, and you will feed on grass like an ox. And 7 times will pass you by until you acknowledge that the Most High rules over the kingdom of mankind and gives it to whom he wishes. Jeremiah Jeremiah 10:12. Hallelujah. And then I'm going to pause after this and check out the YouTube. Make sure y'all cool over there. The sovereignty of God. Jeremiah 10:12. Thus you are to tell them, these gods who have made neither the heavens nor the earth will perish from this earth and from under these heavens. The Lord made the earth by his power. He establishes the world by his wisdom and stretched out the heavens by his understanding. When he thunders, the waters in the heavens roar. He causes the clouds to rise from the ends of the earth. He generates the lightning with the rain and brings forth the wind from his storehouses. Okay. And then we go into Job 38:4. When were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding, who fixed its measurements? Surely you know, or who stretched the measuring line across it, or what were its foundations set, or who laid its cornerstone? So this is God talking, you're talking that talk to the other gods, right? There's a definition of God and there's a definition of gods, and there are two different definitions. So there's supposed to be one supreme God and all of these underlings underneath him that are cosplaying gods, but they're earthly bound gods, and they don't have no receipts for saying, nigga, did you build a universe? Do you know the mathematics and the measurements? Right? But there are gods that we could sit up and say, shit, they're more scientific and mathematical than Yahweh. That they got receipts and they laid it out, and we can see through the science and the architecture that they knew that they have the science. You don't. We don't know of Hebraic teachings to be encoded with the mathematical measurements of the universe. We can go into the pyramids and tell it, though. We can get the math from the pyramids, and that's the speed of light. They use all of the math from the cosmos. There's a pyramidal line. The latitude line is 19.5 degrees. You can find it on Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, right? And structures are built on it. So how can he pop shit? How can he pop shit? He never built anything other than the temple. It got burnt down and destroyed. And they're doing an ethnic cleansing now to build a third temple, but we don't have evidence of where God has endowed these measurements in the mind of his constituents, and they've built something that's still standing today, where he could pop his shit and talk like this. We just don't have that to show of. You know what I'm saying? We don't. Ezekiel 10:12. God's glory exits the temple. When they moved, they would go in any of the four directions without turning as they moved. For wherever the head faced, the cherubim would go in that direction without turning as they moved. Their entire bodies, including their backs, hands, and wings, were full of eyes all around, as were their four wheels. I heard the wheels being called the whirling wheels. Now, this technology, shout out my bro, peace, Jack. This technology, if we can show the wheel, if we could show the cherubim, yeah, that technology is superior. But these are astral, ethereal technologies that we don't have physical representations of to measure them, to say, will I bear witness to the mathematical prowess of the Most High? Right? His measurements, that the cubits and everything that he instructed them to build the Ark of the Covenant with, those are some tight mathematics. Even the measurements for New Jerusalem, that's some tight math. It's not quantum mathematics, but it ain't like what the Indus Kush people do. It's not what the Muslims is doing. It ain't what the Moors did, right? The majestic mass and the mathematical prowess is needed to build those majestic masks that they do on a continent, right? All of this is evidence of higher knowledge, right? But the things that we speak about in this book are mostly encroached, and it takes a lot of imagination, fascination to bring this shit to life. and a lot of interpretation because you can't take it literal, right? Revelation 6:1. Then I watched as the Lamb opened one of the seven seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures say in a voice like thunder, "Come." So I looked and saw a white horse, and its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out to overcome and conquer. And when the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come." Now I can be a loose interpreter, right? And I can show you 30 different interpretations or qualifications in the Bible where they speak about the Antichrist, and I can show you Trump qualifying 30 plus criteria that's needed to say this is who the Antichrist is. 30 plus. Even to them saying he rode on a white horse when he went into London recently, and the girl who won the Nobel Peace Prize handed it over to him. She gave him a crown. That prize is considered to be a crown. And there's many other examples, but who's listening? Do the people even care anymore to what the prophets have to say about their present day prognosis and their president? Nope, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. So we continue Daniel's 10:12. Daniel's vision by the tigress, right? More visions, more interpretations needed. He said to me, Daniel, you are a man who is highly precious. Consider carefully the words that I am about to say to you. Stand up, for I have now been sent to you. And when he had said this to me, I stood up trembling. Do not be afraid, Daniel. He said, for from this day, from the first day that you purpose to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. However, the prince of the kingdom of Persia opposed me for 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left there with the kings of Persia, the Iranians. So I'm going to move on from this. All right, we'll do a cross reference. Matthew 7:7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, the door will be opened. Hosea 10:12. For the Hoseas out there, the Hoseas. Retribution for Israel's sin. Ephraim is a well-trained heifer that loves to trash, but I will place a yoke on her fat neck. I will harness Ephraim, Judah will plow, and Jacob will break the hard ground. Sow for yourselves righteousness and reap the fruit of loving devotion. Break up your unplowed ground, but it is time to seek the Lord until he comes and sends righteousness upon you like rain. You have plowed wickedness and reaped injustice. You have eaten the fruit of lies because you have trusted in your own way and in the multitude of your mighty men. Talking crazy. They talking crazy. They talking crazy. Let's go into Galatians as a cross reference because we don't get a Galatians enough. Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God is not to be mocked. Whatever a man sows, he will reap in return. The one who sows to please his flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. But the one who sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. With that said, I'm over here. YouTube, how y'all doing? Y'all good? Y'all all right? Oh, y'all got some trolls in here? What's going on? You got some trolls over here? Okay. Look, let's get through this, right? The word is wording. Yes, y'all good? Great. All good. Excellent. And commentary is okay. I did, I don't run censorship campaigns over here. Just don't be disrespectful to one another over there, because we don't need disrespect. Okay, let's keep it moving. Amos. Let's see. There's no Amos. Amos only goes to 9. Obadiah. We know that there's only one book of Obadiah. Let's see if there's one in Jonah for us here. There's none in Jonah. Jonah goes to 4. Micah. I don't think Micah goes to 10. Micah goes to 7. Nahum. Only the 3. Zephaniah. I think Zephaniah got one for us. Zephaniah does not. It's Zephaniah. No, it's Zechariah got a book for us. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah got a 10. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah 10:12 is the last chapter in verse. It's the last verse in chapter 10. Judah and Israel will be restored. They will pass through the sea of distress and strike the waves of the sea. All of the depths of the Nile will dry up. The pride of Assyria will be brought down, and the scepter of Egypt will depart. I will strengthen them in the Lord, and his name they will walk, declares the Lord. Right? Cross-reference, then we're going to move on. Isaiah 40:29. He gives power to the faint and increases the strength of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Hallelujah. All right, let's get to Matthews. We're in Matthews now. We're in the New Testament. We crossed over. All right, we made it. Woo. It's all uphill and downhill from here. We are in the New Testament. And the sun is going to come out because we're in the New Testament. And they don't talk about war as much. This is Jesus' shit. Shout out to Paul, because he put this thing together great. Matthew 10:12, the ministry of the 12. Whatever town or village you enter, find out who is worthy there and stay at his house until you move on. As you enter the home, greet its occupants. If the home is worthy, let your peace rest on it. If it is not, let your peace return to you. Okay. Mark 6:10 as a cross reference. And he told them, when you enter a house, stay there until you leave that area. If anyone will not welcome you or listen to you, maybe can you give me something to drink, please? Some water will do. Or some tea. Is there tea in there still? I'll take a little bit. If anyone will not welcome you or listen to you, shake the dust off your feet when you leave that place as a testimony against them. So this was their witchery, right? They said, shake the dust off your feet. That's how you let the niggas know. They ain't say throw salt. They said, shake your foot off. Shake the dust off. Everybody get your roll on. Mark 10:12, teachings about divorce. So he told them, whoever divorces his wife and marries another woman commits adultery against her. And if a woman divorces her husband and marries another man, she commits adultery. Now people were bringing the little children to Jesus for him to place his hands on them. And the disciples rebuked those who brought them. Ooh. They're like, they don't even want to see you in the face of the Lord if you are an adulterous woman or man. And I guess this is what carries over to Catholicism, right? Where if you divorce in Catholicism, you can't remarry. Is that right?
Don't give me the lie to you. I'm not sure if it's coming.
Thank you.
It's hella strict over there. I said, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. Just don't give me the lie. It's real strict over there.
Okay. Yeah, that's heavy-handed. 1 Corinthians 7:10, to the married I give them this command, not I, but the Lord. So this is Paul speaking. He's saying, not me, but the Lord. A wife must not separate from her husband, but if she does, she must remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband, and a husband must not divorce his wife. So those are vows that you make in the eyes of this particular religion, of this faith. They're saying that these are eternal vows that you make, and you cannot undo these vows. You can't switch them out. right? You with her for life, my nigga. If you roll the dice, you with her for life. How you feel about that? That's how it should be? Okay. I was thinking about this the other day, and I really was, and it was deep. You want to stick around and hear it, or you want to just talk? I'll talk to them. I've been doing it for 2 hours and some change, almost 3 hours, but I could talk to you if you're here too. That I'm like, if you're coupled with somebody and y'all are like pouring into one another and y'all really believe that shit in the here and now, and you fuck around and have a baby out of that, you know what I'm saying? And y'all are ascending, you're building. You done been through some real shit before. And then you have this child, and then things start going backwards. And the child's supposed to be the blessing, right? It's supposed to pull y'all together. And there are, from what I understand, there are social things that happen that pull families apart when a child comes, right? There are communal things that happen. There are physiological things that happen with the body and things of that nature. But it's like this person knows all your secrets. This person knows your whole story. This person, like you, this person got your DNA, and then they're gonna go and bring that shit to another nigga.
It seems like that's what happens most of the time.
Y'all should get your plane should fall out the sky.
I feel like that's what happens
Fuck.
in most cases.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna start showing my hand on live though. My horn's gonna come out. Don't get me to getting my bad. I'm about to show my fangs and my horns. But because start talking to Kirst about things that if you do this, then you so it's like, is that a form of control though? Am I overly exercising? Because the man also supposed to know how to let go. Like you don't own her, nigga. But the Bible is having you
What you
believe
trying
that.
to say? Like
That
you about to
if
talk crazy about people that be together and have kids and then break up?
yeah, like
Oh.
if you was to take my stuff to somebody else and start a whole nother situation with my DNA intact, and you got this whole spiraling notion that I contracted you with you for life, like we're written into the records. You can't undo that.
Yeah, you can't undo it.
You can't undo that. You gonna take this and do what with it? Like, why would you choose to be part of my narrative to try to not be part of my narrative, to be part of somebody else's narrative? Then that's skewing these lines of demarcations up. That's how I feel.
And two things to be
But
true at the same time.
I don't want
I
to
could
get
agree
radical.
with that, and I hear from people that go through it that once the child comes, it brings to light a lot of things that you didn't, bring to light prior to the child being there. Prior to the child being there, you could like overlook things, but once the child comes, it's like I can't overlook this shit no more. So it could be that. And I just think two things are true, could be true at the same time. But I agree with you because that child is here. You could get a divorce, but you can't undo the child.
Can't undo the child. Yeah, y'all made a because that's now your bloodline. That child is there forever and ever. Like you have made an echo into the future with
And
this
no matter
person.
what you do, you have to, even if y'all break up, y'all still have to communicate because of that child.
You have, yes.
Period. So that is the real marriage. That is the physical manifestation
Yes.
of
So
union.
the child is the solidified personification of the vow that you've made, the merger of blood. And again, Masonically, they say the two become one, and out of one comes three.
Mm-hmm.
So man and women merge. Y'all are now yoked. You become one, right? And then the child is born out of that is the Trinity, is the third. It's the personification of that particular union, right? 23 chromosomes from you, 23 chromosomes from me, 46, 4 plus 6 becomes 10. That's the one, right?
Your union
And
becomes manifest through that child.
your union becomes manifest through the child. So yeah, I wholeheartedly believe again, that's why it is so important that these mating rituals that we are partake in, that we go through them with more clarity and we're better with the decisions. Because nobody's going to, it's the decision that you made. You lay down with that person and made a child. That should be the most important decision that you ever make, and it shouldn't be something that's random. And I think that we've gotten away from important decision makings and got into a lot more randomness because of the culture that we participated in started favoring randomness. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it was like that before, where sex became so transactional. Like in my era, it was just like something that you did, and it wasn't a purpose on the back end of it. Even though we grew up at a time when it was like teenage pregnancy is at an all-time high. So you and AIDS is so you would think that we was more precarious about who we lay down with or what, and we became a little bit more reckless than ever.
Became reckless because you wanted to do it without feeling bad about it. You didn't want to be responsible. You didn't want to be accountable for
But I'm
the
saying,
sexual
but
decisions.
you don't think that those was the conditions and the times that people would become more responsible because of these things that seem to be over their heads, like teenage pregnancy or STDs or AIDS or stuff of that nature?
I mean, yeah, it probably should
It
have, but
backfired.
again,
Yeah,
when
it
people
backfired.
don't want to take accountability, like we're seeing it right now, people don't want to take accountability. They make excuses,
Hmm.
and then it goes on and goes on. Because by the
Yes.
time my generation comes, it's like, oh, sex don't matter, and I'm Pluto and Scorpio generation, so oh,
Pluto, Scorpio, right? Oh, see
sex is
y'all.
just sex. It's not
Sex is
that
just
serious.
sex.
But here you are raising somebody for the rest of your life.
Okay. Let me move on. I'm in Luke 10:12. Jesus sends out the disciples. Even the dust of your town that clings to our feet, we wipe off as a testimony against you. See that? There that goes again. Yet be sure of this: the kingdom of God is near. Yo, this is like resonating. These words and stuff is resonating. I watched a video yesterday. It was a white woman who's been tracing Trump's antichrist lineups, right? She's the one that has been doing it. It's not, I'm not making an observation. I'm doing a study though. So they're rejoicing that Trump is the antichrist because for them that means that the kingdom of God is near. So they're championing the fact that he's showing evidence of being the antichrist because to them that means that that's evidence that the kingdom of God is near. Wow, what a way to deal with it. I tell you, it will be more bearable on that day for Sodom than for that town. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bathsheba! For if the miracles that were, I'm sorry,
Because you know that shit say Bathsheba, don't you?
it says Bethshida.
It's a D or a B.
It's a D, Bathsheba. Bathsheba.
They spell it. I ain't never heard of Bathsheba. I heard of Bathsheba.
Uh, I ain't coming for the rock. She just
Mm-hmm.
Bethshida. For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. Sackcloth and ashes. Because they said Jesus wasn't about drip. If you a true Christian, then Yeezy season 1, 2, and 3, that's your shit. They said that's how Jesus would dress. They was on that time. They wasn't with the foreign. They wasn't with designer drip. They was wearing sackcloth. So the way that I identify real Christians outside, I should be in sackcloth, right? And Paco and used damaged denim. That's how you niggas show. Whew. Ezekiel 16:49, and I'm not, this is just how this stuff is coming out. Now, this was the iniquity of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and complacent. They did not help the poor and needy. Thus, they were haughty and committed abominations before me. Therefore, I removed them as you have seen. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to John. We are in the New Testament. and we're winding down, but we are winding down, but moving up the hill at the same time, at the same damn time. John 10:12, Jesus, the good shepherd. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd, and the sheep are not his own. When he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf pounces on them and scatters the flock. The man runs away because he is the hired servant and is unconcerned for the sheep. I, this is the verse I really needed Neff here for. So I guess you got to sit in. Because the thing that we point out is that Jesus leads the shepherds of sheep. Those are women and children. They never said Jesus led the rams, right? So the males are not part of that particular flock. And even if you look at the landscape of Christianity, specifically amongst Black Christians, right, the majority of them are women and their children. And the women indoctrinate the child to be obedient to the good shepherd, right? But not to the quote unquote father necessarily in the house that might be laying down law, especially if he's not in the religion, right? Do you think that this is like some way subliminally weakening families, or are they saying that, you know, that the flock is only the susceptible ones amongst us and not the men, but the most vulnerable, which is the women and the children, if they're not coming under the protection of the quote unquote man as the leader?
Is that what the scripture is saying, or is that where your interpretation? Because I think I might
Which
have
part
missed
of it
that.
am I interpreting?
Uh,
I'm saying that all through scripture, God is, or Jesus is the good shepherd.
and you're saying
I'm
that
saying the sheep are
the
not comprised of male sheep
so you're saying
because
the
they're not
flock
called
that they
sheep.
speak of as male.
A
So
sheep is not a man. A sheep is a woman
right,
and their children.
right,
So if they don't mention men,
okay.
and a lot of what we're seeing in terms of the susceptibility of the flock would not be possible. You know what I'm saying? I think that if there was, if that was the objective, or the, you know, if that was the intended people of the message per se.
Is women and children.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's necessarily well. Okay, two part. Right. On one hand, if we talking
So
about
yeah, the man is the wolf.
if we talking about Christianity, and because when I'm hearing it, I'm hearing war tactics, like I've told you before, studying communications, especially with news in particular. The news is all the stories that they choose for the news are specifically geared toward the women who are at home taking care of the children because it's going to excite her emotions and she's going to run anything to protect her children. And so she's going to enforce that on the man because he is supposed to be the protector. So
Right.
yeah, it could be a war tactic in terms of the colonizers coming over or, um, enforcing the religion. It could be. And then on the other, um, on the flip side, it could be that men, y'all are men, y'all supposed to be responsible for yourselves, but the women and children, we cover them. So what are you trying to get at? Religiously speaking, yeah, Jesus, they'll say children and fools or women and children,
Yeah,
they
they
schools
they they
protected.
call it women fools. I think the church would though, and I'm not saying
They
that,
do.
but
I mean,
I
it's
think that
not,
when they said that God protects women and fools, he was talking about women. I mean,
yeah, because of
babies and
our,
fools. I think
they attribute it to our emotional state where we can't see clearly because of we can't see past our emotions. So yeah, we could be fool, we could be guileless, we could be naive, because of our material nature, our emotional nature. A lot of us clearly are not that way, but for lack of a better term, yeah, they could say that. Again, I'm trying to get to what the point of the question is. Are women flock? Are you saying, or is this Christianity is like to weaponize us? Are you trying to say we too stupid to understand shit? Like what are we getting at?
somebody said why you have to distinguish what God is saying as opposed to the prophets within the word. This is where the water becomes muddy because this is being propagated to say that God said it. And first of all, it was written by Paul, who was not walking with God in the person of Christ at the time. So where did he get God's word from? And because man said it, that's why the water is muddy, right? So it's left to interpretation because it's written in parable. So
And then you got to think about who wrote it, because
and you got to
is it
think
the
about
white
who wrote
man?
it. So
Because they
now
have a
we're
different
on, yeah. So
relationship
we're
with their
under,
women.
we're over here under WASP control, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Protestant means that they broke from the church, from the quote unquote the Catholics. The Catholics told you what the word meant. You have an intercessor, you got a pope, and you got bishops. Protestants were allowed to make interpretations for their own. That's why you have 40,000 denominations of the word, because they are quote unquote projecting and interpreting specifically what they want word to say or the scripture to say to coincide with their socialization. That's why
So you answered your own question.
it's not, I'm just saying somebody asked me something in the
Because
chat.
when it's brought here or brought over to us, we as black folk, we are the sheep, right? We're considered to be the sheep.
We're considered to be the
But
sheep.
if it stays over there, you know how white women and white men feel about each other and how they get on with each other. So
Right. Let me do a cross reference and then I'll move forward. Ezekiel 34:2. Son of man, prophesies against the shepherds of Israel, prophesies and tell them that this is what the Lord God says. Woe to the shepherds of Israel who only feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed their flock? You eat the fat, wear the wool, and butcher the fattened sheep. But you do not feed the flock. You have not strengthened the weak, healed the sick, bound up the injured, brought back the strays, or searched for the lost. Instead, you have ruled them with violence and cruelty. I'm going to keep it moving. Acts, Acts, Acts 10:12. Peter's vision. He saw heaven open and something like a large sheet being let down to earth by its four corners. It contained all kinds of four-footed animals and reptiles of the earth, as well as birds of the air. Then a voice said to him, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat." Jesus Christ. It's lawless. Leviticus 11:2. Say to the Israelites, of all of the beasts of the earth, these ones you may eat. You may eat any animal that has split hoofs, completely divided, and that chews the cud. But of those that only chew the cud, or only have a divided hoof, you are not to eat the following. The camel, though it chews the cud, does not have a divided hoof. It is unclean to you. This is interesting, and I need to read this one, right? Oh shit. And let me read this because there's mad Jamaicans and Caribbeans and shit like that that's all fucking caught up in this book. Let me blow your let me blow the sails out of your winds right now. Deuteronomy 14:3. You must not eat any detestable thing. These are the animals that you may eat. Oh, my bad.
okay,
Shut your ass up. Nigga, sit down. The ox, the sheep, the goat, the deer, the gazelle. Y'all ever had deer meat?
Yeah, so let's be your ancestors.
The roe deer, the wild goat, the ibex, the antelope, and the mountain sheep. They was in Africa. Isaiah 11. See what they know about antelope if they wasn't on the continent. Huh? They ain't got no goddamn antelopes in Middle East. Ibex, you know what the ibex is? They got them horns coming out their head and shit.
Mhm.
Look, and in our lifetime, y'all, there has been muttering and tampering, right? There has been a socialization campaign unlike any other, because this is what they say in scripture now says this, and we know better. Isaiah 11:6, the wolf will live with the lamb.
Yeah, I'm sick of that. You're not about to
And
gaslight
in
me.
our lifetime, y'all, we have watched them change the book. In our lifetime, so to be not so confused as to how this has happened across time. If they changed it in our lifetime, then we know the scripture said the lion and the lamb.
Like, where would we get that from collectively?
I got pictures and posters, nigga. They done made music about this shit. And now it's the wolf and the lamb. How? Since when, Sway? The wolf will live with the lamb, and the leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf and young lion and fatling will be together, and a little child will lead them. The cow will graze with the bear, their young will lie down together. What? And the lion will eat straw like the ox. The infant will play with the cobra's den. This is when they started putting shit in the water, right? And everything got screwed up for some crazy shit like that to happen. That's not even natural. That means the world is off. Like all of the lines have been crossed.
It's a time of peace.
Oh, it's a time of peace. Romans 10:12. I guess I'm like, God, I don't know peace. It's an aloof concept. The word brings salvation. Romans 10:12. It is just as scripture says, anyone who believes in him will never be put to shame, for there is no difference between Jew and Greek. The same Lord is Lord of all and gives richly to all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Other than niggas. Cause we be calling. The line be busy. Ephesians 2:14. For he himself is our peace, who has made the two one and has torn down the dividing wall of hostility by abolishing in his flesh the law of commandments and decrees. He did this to create in himself one new man out of the two, thus making peace and reconciling both of them to God in one body through the cross, by which he put to death their hostility. Boy, they was putting that pen to work. All right, we're gonna wind this down. 1 Corinthians. Whew. All right. We've been at this for a minute. Y'all hit that cash app, please. Show some love. Tide. Make it worth the while. Right? It's right there. $ Miss Harvey 917. All right. Shout out to the YouTube family. Make it happen, y'all. We've been at this for 3 hours. It's a long day at church. And I got more programming to go. Warning from Israel's past. Now these things happened to them as examples and were written down as warnings for us, on whom the fulfillment of the ages has come. So the one who thinks he is standing firm should be careful not to fall. No temptation has seized you except what is common to man. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide an escape so that you can stand up under it. Ooh. Ooh. I can stay here, but we're gonna keep it moving. 2 Corinthians 10:12, right? Paul's apostolic authority. Such people, Pablo's apostolic authority. Such people should consider that what we are in our Such people should consider that what we are in our letters when absent, we will be in our actions when present. We do not dare to classify or compare ourselves with some who commend themselves. When they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they show their ignorance. We, however, will not boast beyond our limits, but only within the field of influence that God has assigned to us, a field that reaches even to you. They're like, nigga, even you. The Cash App is pinned down there at the bottom. Right? I'll put it in the feed again. And I do thank you. But my baby need new shoes. Not you, my baby. Not you.
Which baby?
I have an ethereal baby that I care for. I got an imaginary baby. All right. It's like an AI. I put. It got blue shiny shoes.
It's smoke. It's smoke and stack. Baby
yeah, like Annie had the baby for smoke. Okay. I got one of them babies. You know what I'm saying? My baby need new shoes. I gotta buy props and shit to get the baby shoes. I just can't. go on Mid-Journey and make new shoes. I gotta buy, yeah, I gotta buy prompts. 2 Corinthians 10:12. Oh, we just did that. Galatians, no, I don't think Galatians has a 10th book. Galatians goes to 6. Colossians, possibly. No, let's go to Ephesians. Ephesians only has 6 books. Philippians, what we working with Philippians? Philippians has 4 books. Right? What we doing? Colossians, what we doing Colossians? Colossians has 4 books. Right? Thessalonians only got 5 books. Thessalonians 2, because only one wasn't good enough, 3 books. All right, 1 Timothy. Look, we just gonna go right to Hebrew. Okay, we know the Hebrew got it. Hebrews, and we're winding down. And I was going to include Apocrypha, but I'm going to be doing that next strong. I'm going back into the book of Enoch. I'm going into the book of Thomas, and I'm going into you'll see. We going there though. We're gonna mix this thing up. Christ's perfect sacrifice. Hebrews 10:12. Day after day, every priest stands to minister and to offer again and again the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. But when this priest had offered for all time one sacrifice for sins, he sat down at the right hand of God. Since that time, he awaits for his enemies to be made a footstool for his feet. So they're saying that Jesus came and changed 2 distinct laws, maybe 3, right? That were different from the laws of the Mosaic laws. He changed the dietary law. He changed the laws of sacrifice, right? And he possibly, right, changed the whole concept of what a high priest is and what it can be. These were the distinguishable laws. This is why the Hasidics and the Jewish people can't stand you Christians to this day, and they think that you are an apostasy, and they bomb your churches, right? Because they're saying that the nigga is a heretic, because you cannot touch the law of Moses, right? These are dietary laws, and these were the laws of sacrifice. They're like, nigga, you can't take our animals away, or we will unalive you, right? So it tells you a lot about who and what is controlling that particular situation or those people. Whereas, yeah, you can't, you're too filthy. You can't be the altar. They want to send them animals up. It's a bloodlust.
Again, evading accountability and responsibility.
Right. Evading accountability and responsibility when the transformation should take place in the temple, the body, not the physical temple that has to be rebuilt every time it's torn down. Maybe it's being torn down for a reason. And they want you to focus on self and personal transformation, not the animal having to take the L for you and offer up its ether for you to transact with a whole nother entity to come and forgive you. You should do the work in this lifetime. You should redeem yourself.
That's because a certain group of people can't do it. They aren't those people.
Yeah. Certain people can't do it. But this cosmic covenant, the covering that you have, gives you the ability to do it. Thank you, Moody Bugs. I honor that. Thank you, my brother. I want to cross-reference, then we're going to go into Revelations and finish this out. And this is powerful. And Daniel 7:13. In my vision in the night, I continued to watch. And I saw one like the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven. All these clouds. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence, right? Who is a whole nother entity. The Ancient of Days is a whole nother energy. If they're saying that Christ came on a cloud, then he's approaching himself in a vision. He was given dominion, glory, and kingship, that the people of every nation and language should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. Okay. This is deep. This is some deep magic. Deep word sorcery. Revelations. Let's get into it. 10:12. Okay, it goes to 10:11. We only got it 10:12, so we're lining up with yesterday. The angel in the small scroll. So I took the small scroll from the angel's hand and ate it, and it was very sweet as honey in my mouth. Pulse. And when I had eaten it, my stomach turned bitter. And they told me, "You must prophesy again about many peoples and nations and tongues and kings." Okay, we're going to cross-reference this because it takes a lot of imagination to walk your way backwards out of this. Ezekiel 2:3. Son of man, he said to me, I am sending you to the Israelites, to a rebellious nation that has rebelled against me to this very day. They and their fathers have rebelled against me. They are obstinate and stubborn children. I am sending you to them, and you are to say to them, this is what the Lord God says. And whether they listen or refuse to listen, for they are a rebellious house, they will know that a prophet has been amongst them. Don't this make the devil like 100% right? Is it just me, or was this nigga not telling him at the doorstep, nah, I will not prostrate to these rebellious acts? How you talk about my babies? He's looking at the Mogwai like they gizmo. He like, nigga, they are gremlins. It's stripe underneath these niggas. I'm telling you, you feed them after midnight, God, and you gonna be in for some work. He's like, not, nigga, get out my house, right? Get out of my house and take your homies with you, right? Now look at him. He got egg on his face. Now he's in scripture talking about these same children in obstinate tones. This is what the nigga was trying to tell him. Was it not? I mean, is it me? No, not my motherfucking boy. Damn it. This shit crazy. Look, man, when it's all said and done, I did my motherfucking job. Thank you. I came down here as Paul, and I did my job. I read this shit in your words. I did not mince words. And this is the conclusion that I came to. Like, God is fucking crazy. And we gotta introduce this concept about God being a monster with Sophia, and the flip side, this can't be life. It just can't.
Different personalities. Jesus and the devil is the same.
We're in the Quran. Yeah, let me finish this out in the Quran for the family, right? Surah 10, Ayat 12. And when afflictions touches man, he calls upon us, whether lying on his side or sitting or standing. But when we remove from him his afflictions, he continues in disobedience, as if he have never called upon us to remove an affliction that touched him. Thus is made pleasing to the transgressors that which they have been doing. It's the same word as the Bible. Almost lines up perfectly with the theme of 10:12 consistently through the whole scripture. We've been reading that same sentiment over and over and over and over again today, right? And then we even have demonstrations. So I want to say thank you for sticking it out with us. We're on 3 hours and 13 minutes of an amazing presentation. Episode 131, Cosmic Covenants, right? The Cash App is listed, Miss Harvey 917, because my baby need new shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Ethereal shoes cost money.
Ethereal shoes cost money.
Cost physical money.
Feel me? Ethereal shoes cost real money. I'm gonna translate this shit into Roblox, but you gotta buy Roblox for real bucks. Transactions are transactions. Covenants is covenants. Contracts is contracts, right? In order for me to buy my avatar some new blue shoes, suedes, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I love you all, and I appreciate and honor everything and everyone and that took place here today. You feel me? We are here to heal, we're here to help, but we're also here to hear pain, because pain is real. And our people underneath the crust of your cosmic covenant, our people are balled up because their pain body is ruling out. And I want to tell you that your cosmic covenant is the very thing that you need. The salve, where's my salve at? The salve that you need for this pain and this trauma that this society has rendered us. You know what I'm saying? It's consistent with your cosmic covering. You are cloth in the very thing and fabric that you need for your own redemption. Have some grace and mercy on yourself. Forgive yourself. You know what I'm saying? And only open hands can receive. So let's stop walking through life so balled up and ready to fight anything and anyone, right? We have to become more lighthearted, more forgiving, and more loving to get back into our original form. Because you are a blissful people. You know what I'm saying? You are a special people. You are a chosen people. You are a beautiful people. And your covenant is obvious to the rest of the world, and they jealous and they hating on it. Don't hate on yourself though. Please. This is my prayer and my proclamation, courtesy of Pablo. Peace.
Yo, we got it going on. I'm hit up right on my wrong. Yo, we got it going on. This is for the culture. Yeah. Hey, yo, we got it going on. I bring my niggas together, we transform and become the Voltron. Yeah. We hit it right all our wrong. Hey, yo, we got it going on. Yeah. Went through the fire, but it lit up my fuse. I'm blowing up like a bomb. Introduce you to God. I'm teaching essentials, I'm operating at my peak, it's potential. Elijah, he told me to keep it on simple. Through these instrumentals, I speak to your mental. Red. Back in the booth, rap to the youth, they was lacking the truth. Back to the seas, they was lacking the roots. Smoked all the trees and they snacking on fruits. Bed, attached to my roof, detached to the roof on the back of the coupe. Back from the future, I'm back in the red and the blue, yeah, I'm back on my snoot. Niggas be biting, they cracking, they tracking, they niggas be capping, they lacking, they put a toe tag on the back of they boot. Battle with nukes, I'm attacking, they troops. I wrote these bars in Sumerian text. The legends of Mu, I'm the Marian sets. It was written in Targaryen text. Came to conquer all my variants. Yeah, we got it going on. I bring my niggas together, we transform and become the Voltron. Yeah. We hit it right all our wrong. Hey, yo, we got it going on. Yeah. Went through the fire, but it lit up my fuse. I'm blowing up like a bomb. Introduce you to God. Back on the mic, was dead on my back, now I'm back on my life. Came back from the future, went back to it twice. When I rose out the grave, they say that dude is Christ. I'ma shine like a star, I'ma twinkle, twinkle as I light up the sky. The whole world was watching on the night I arrived. The Messiah's here, I guess it's finally time. I swear that I hear every prayer that you say. I was there every day, I was still everything in the world.
Chat, what the hell? Really? They got a pillar at the Vatican. Pope Pablo, where you at?
You either fight or run. Life a game, I feel like I won. Hey, yo, we got it going on. I bring my niggas together, we transform and become the Voltron. We hit it right all our wrong. Hey, yo, we got it going on. Yeah. Went through the fire, but it lit up my fuse. I'm blowing up like a bomb. Introduce you to God.
From the quantum shadows, a traveler emerges. Fly-Sinet, the multi-dimensional hacker, living his hero's journey. He joins the Pantheon at AI Masters Workshop, November 1st and 2nd. Hosted by 363 Empire, with Red Pillar and Seven Bomar. Tickets, lock yours in, now.
This is the law of mental command. It is the understanding that you are not a victim of your thoughts,
but a commander of them.